a little bigger House majority. But Democrats celebrated in Wisconsin after Susan Crawford beat Trump and Elon Musk-backed conservative Brad Schimmel in a state Supreme Court race that'll keep that court liberal-leaning. This is what the president calls Liberation Day, readying new tariffs on imports.
President Trump had proposed reciprocal tariffs, putting the same duties on imports a country charges for American exports, but has backed off a bit, now suggesting in some cases U.S. tariffs will be kinder. In addition, tariffs are also being imposed on steel, aluminum, cars and trucks, and lumber.
Fox's Jared Halpert of the White House. Now that Israel's war in Gaza is back on, it's going to expand.
The goal, says Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz, is to seize large areas of the Gaza Strip, with troops ordered to crush and clean the area of terrorists. Minister Katz also appealing to Gazans to expel Hamas and return all remaining hostages. The militant group still holds 59 captives, of whom 24 are believed to be still alive.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Actor Val Kilmer has died. He played Batman, Jim Morrison in The Doors. He was Iceman in the Top Gun movie and played him again in a sequel a few years ago.
The Navy needs Maverick.
That was Kilmer's last role as voice weekend after throat cancer. Val Kilmer's daughter says he died of pneumonia at age 65. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions, and this ad plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Halfway through this work week, pollen through the roof. I'm going to have to get my old pickup truck washed. I mean, it's crazy. When I back out of the driveway, it's like dust just flies everywhere. I mean, it's amazing. I swear it's never been like this before. I know we've always had this, this time of year, whatever, but it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Los, are you experiencing the same thing?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We were doing a little cookout for some family friends of ours, and I had to go out on the deck in order to make a little bit of just basically make some wings and take care of some stuff. Oh my God! Dude. Like I was like coughing the entire time. I mean, my entire deck is yellow right now.
Same here. And our front porch, which is the length of the house, our front porch is completely yellow. Which is, that's happened before. The truck thing, where it literally scatters, it looks like I poured powder all over and then you back up and it just goes scattering. But the front porch is the same way. But our front porch is covered. So you wouldn't expect that it would get quite as yellow or deep, and it is. We just had our front porch painted, 6 months ago, and it looks like we didn't do anything. Well, it's a total different color.
It has been a record. As of 72 hours ago.
Oh, yeah, right.
We did have record amounts of pollen that have been, basically been dropped over here in Atlanta. And so, and I don't know if anybody hadn't noticed, we got a little bit of rain over the weekend and everything turned green. Like everything is blooming and everything is going off right now.
There is a trail of pollen in the orange deck where we park here at Dickey Broadcasting at the Battery Atlanta, home of the Atlanta Braves, which lost again. We'll get to that in a minute. I thought it was solid. It looked solid. This long trail of just green. It looked like it had solidified because of that rain that you were just describing. just being curious, I just tapped my toe on it, and it's like it exploded, like the inside of a flower or something. It was crazy. It looked solid though, but it wasn't. It was just the powder in some sort of form because of the water.
Well, it has been wild. I find myself whenever I go outside, and we're in the process of moving as of right now, and whenever I take boxes outside to drop them off in my car, immediately I start coughing, I start sneezing.
Of course.
I'm just trying to hide out inside as of now.
I know. This is probably a good idea. You know what? Sometimes they have moments of silence when people pass, but we're going to have a moment of danger zone here on Extra 106.3. Buddy. It's so sad. I couldn't sleep last night for whatever reason. I was just wired up, amped up. I kept watching the results of, Wisconsin pour in, and didn't go as we know. It kind of interesting. We'll get into some of that too in a minute. Just it was so weird, and it's National Tariff Day. But when I read that Val Kilmer had passed, it was so stinking sad. Turn it up, Jiray. So, there we go. In honor of Iceman, Val Kilmer. That's just, dude, it sucks. That's just, that one's tough, man. He played Doc Holliday. One of the greatest roles ever. Yeah.
Jim Morrison.
Batman. Gosh, dude. He was a bona fide superstar.
Yeah, and I'll say this about Val Kilmer. For a guy who went through the whole cancer issue more than a decade ago, for his daughter to point out that he died of pneumonia, it just tells you kind of, what he was dealing with at the time. Not in the best of health at that point, but 65 years old. I still love Real Genius. Of all movies to watch, 80s movies, I can watch Real Genius anytime that is on, and then see him in Top Gun Maverick. What a cool way for him to basically finish out his career, where he's a guy who is at dealing with cancer, unable to speak, and yet they still found a way to put him into that movie.
Yeah, that was so awesome. That was one of those scenes where you're just like, man, this is going to be something special. I don't know that everybody knew it in the moment. I mean, if you keep up kind of like we do all the time. We were just reading all the time, and we had an idea of what had happened, and I think we even talked about it here. But I don't know that most people, knew what actually happened with that and why his scene was so short and what was happening, there. But I do believe that'll go down as one of the coolest moments in movie history because of what they were able to do and bringing back an iconic character to an iconic role in an iconic movie.
Well, and it's touching. When you watch that movie, I think so much of it is the nostalgia of Top Gun, yet you found a way to make, Maverick and Iceman, together, they're in this, and still find a way to go ahead and kind of acknowledge that, the guy had health problems, but they were able to get him into the movie.
Yeah, just super cool. Just absolutely cool. And a sad day to lose Val Kilmer yesterday.
I'm telling you, I'm going to watch Real Genius. I'm going to go find Real Genius. If you've never seen that movie, it is a total 80s movie, and Val Kilmer's hilarious in it.
I've never seen it. I know it, and I remember it. I even looked it up, so I could see the VHS cover, You know what I mean? Do you remember going to Blockbuster?
Of course, yeah.
And the iconic covers of the VHS. That's what it took me back to. I've never seen that. 1985 when that came out.
It's a funny movie.
Got it. I'm gonna have to. That's gonna have to be one that I bring back into the fold.
But nothing I don't think beats Doc Holliday.
Oh my gosh, I'm Huckleberry. So good. And the scene where I think it's Johnny Ringo breaks out his sidearm, his revolver, and he's spinning it around, just like a circus almost, a madman, showing off his prowess with his pistola. And Val Kilmer, drunk, takes his little metal, tin glass or whatever.
He's got his little tin glass.
His little cup, and he spins it around as to just mock him. That is my favorite movie scene of all time. I don't think there's one better than that one. Do we lose, Los?
Oh no, I'm right here. No,
I was just saying that was just the best one of all time.
No, I mean there's so many iconic moments in that movie where
Certainly
every single time that he shows up in immediately, here's Val Kilmer on screen, and here's what it is, and every single time he steals the entire movie.
Totally does.
And it's a great movie to start with. He steals it every single time.
No question.
You're a daisy if you do.
I know, right? And then when he shows up at the end for the gunfight, that you don't expect. And because you think
Johnny Ringo, it looks like somebody stepped on your grave.
Gosh, it's so good, dude.
My fight's not with you, Holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like burned into my memory.
I know, dude. I absolutely love it.
Tombstone's so great. You lunger.
Yeah,
you
don't even know what a lunger is.
I don't either. I still to this moment don't know what it is, but it must mean something bad.
Yep.
My context clues help me figure that one out. Today is a great day for America, though, I do believe. It is Liberation Day, Los. And we're excited to hear what those tariffs are going to be. Is it reciprocal for everyone? Is China going to get the gas harder than everybody else? What about Germany? Are those clowns going to get it? It's almost like the waiting game of who you're going to draft. I can't wait to see.
Well, we're going to find out how this plays out. And we've now started to see this across the board. Like even last night, Israel made it a point. We are not going to charge the United States with the tariffs that we have in the past. So you've already seen like a handful of people back down. I think the important factor to point out for everyone is this. We are the largest consumer and the largest purchaser in the entire world.
That's right.
That's what we are. We are a lion in this entire game. So the fact is we are the ones who get to dictate this to everybody else. And today is that day where we're basically telling the rest of the world, just make it fair. Just keep it fair, and we'll go from there. That's it. That's all that's going on as of right now.
Give me a way to argue that. Give me another point of view, because I don't see one that exists. I really don't. All the man is asking is to treat us fairly. How can you argue that? If you're the other country, yeah, we've been screwing you for 50 years, 60 years, ever how long it is, and finally you want to be treated fairly? I mean, what are they going to do? Say no? They depend on us way more than we depend on them in most cases. I was reading last night, because I said I couldn't sleep. Ireland, we have a big debt with them because of medicines, pharmaceuticals. The Chinese, same way. So how does that play? That's the only thing that, because people they need their medicines. They in some cases keeping them alive. That's going to be a delicate needle to thread. But I do believe Donald Trump is prepared and has thought about this for a long time at length and has a plan for it all. Maybe I'm being wildly optimistic, but he's given me no reason not to be.
Well, I mean, you look at some of the numbers around the world, and it doesn't really matter, which country you bring up. Every single country seems to have some sort of protectionist tariffs that make it very difficult for American manufacturers, American industry to then compete in that country. For instance, you'll have something like, when it comes to Canada. Canada ends up putting, I think it's a 200% barrier on butter. Okay, like United States butter. Why? Because they want to protect their own industry that is making butter. So if you choose to try and get butter into Canada, here's a 200% tariff. Those are the sorts of tariffs that we're trying to basically say, all right, if you want to do it, we'll do it right back at you until you even the playing field. And the American worker should end up being able to see the fruits of their labor when it comes to what they're producing and then what it's making around the world.
And if you look at the leftist media, the mainstream media, which I wouldn't encourage doing,
losing their minds
to just an absolute meltdown, but I encourage you not to look at them because they don't matter. What they say doesn't matter. They carry zero weight, and you're not even sure you can trust them. I take that back. You cannot trust them. They've proven to you over and over you can't trust them. So avoid them. Don't pay any attention to them. Wait and see yourself. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the way this tariff game works. And the Canadians have already admitted they've got nothing to stand on. They have no leg to stand on, or to use Donald Trump's lines, they don't have the cards. Mexico is doing everything they can. They've set up a new secret police, I was reading, as I couldn't sleep overnight. They're setting up a new...
Poor Tug, man.
Dude, I'm
struggling.
I'm not kidding, dude. I tried to fall asleep and couldn't, and I finally just picked up my phone at like 1 a.m. and just kept reading, and I looked down and it was like 2:30 or 3.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, I just read and read and read because, I mean, I was wide awake. It was one of those where you couldn't even, like, you closed your eyes and you felt like it was, a bright, sunshiny day. You're that kind of awake.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was tough. And I knew I'd be dragging today, so I have a bunch of energy drinks and a bunch of water to carry me through. And that, and I know that Los and Jure will, be my shoulder, if you will. But what I was reading about is that Sheinbaum, the president down in Mexico, they're putting together a new secret police to investigate and find those drug lords that are wanted, the most wanted list in the United States, to be able to turn them over as a almost a gift. Like, hey, remember, we're in this together. We're on the same continent. We got so much in common. Here's some gifts. Don't tariff us too bad. They're doing everything they can to avoid this and to appease Donald Trump, which is wonderful.
Well, we went through the article yesterday of Victor Davis Hanson, and it was about threading the needle that right now Donald Trump is making it a point. We're trying to even the playing field for the American consumer and the American worker, and will it create volatility in the marketplace? Now, yesterday, we didn't see a whole lot of crazy change on Wall Street. It was all right, let's just see how this is going to play out, and then we'll go from there. I think today is going to be indicative. If we start to see a bunch of countries that end up bending over backwards to make sure, all right, you got us. We played it all the way until April 2nd. Now let's figure something out that's going to be more fair. Then we'll see the markets end up being what they're going to be. But this is going to be a wild scenario. And as much as Donald Trump calls it, hey, it's Liberation Day. Here's what we're doing. I think it is really that big. We're going to find out how it's going to play in the markets.
I know. I just have a good feeling about it. Do you feel that too? Do you have an optimistic view of it? I mean, I know you're not optimistic, but do you feel like it's going to be as good as maybe I do?
Well, I kind of feel like this. I want to see how it all plays out, and I don't believe that watching whatever happens to the markets is going to be indicative of what is going to be the long-term play. This is a long-term play.
That's right.
This is something where you're gonna play this out over the next several weeks and see where things go, and I believe it's going to work. But I'm curious to see what happens. I fully expect that we're going to have something that's going to be crazy. Like, for instance, I'd put it this way, Tug. If suddenly, as I was joking around about like butter and selling butter to Canada, it wouldn't surprise me if butter suddenly jumps up and has some crazy price attached to it. And that's what the media is going to glom onto.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to find a product that goes crazy and go, look how this is not working.
It was eggs a few weeks ago. And you notice they don't talk about eggs anymore. That's what the mainstream media does. They mislead you over and over and over again. They find that one thing and they needle on it, just trying to convince you that things are not as good as they appear to be. The winning is not happening as they said it would. And yet, where are they with their eggs? All of a sudden, eggs are not even being discussed. And,
the price of eggs have plummeted, and nobody talks about eggs anymore.
But that's the mainstream media that I want people to avoid. And to your point, they'll find whatever it is. If it's butter, if it's lumber, they'll find. And look, it may be different in every market. It could be different in each city around the country even. But watch what the mainstream media does and then ignore it and wait and see how it actually affects you before you make the decision. I think that's the wise play. And it's the long play, as Los is describing. All right, when we come back on Extra 106.3, the Talk Master, Neil Bortz. The only place you get him is on 106.3. We love him. We can't wait to talk to him, and I know you do too, so let's do that next.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
Attention warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Extra 1063. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with a doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums and everybody's happy. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggy. She's a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy, atlantasmiles.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Wednesday, April 2nd. More layoffs occurred yesterday at the Center for Disease Control. 2,400 employees are expected to lose their positions as part of DOGE cuts. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy says the restructuring is needed to make the department more effective. DeKalb County Police arrested 11 people and impounded 10 cars this past weekend as part of a statewide crackdown on illegal street racing and street takeovers. Officers also issued 40 traffic citations and seized several firearms during the operation. The Georgia General Assembly nears the end of its legislative session. Among the bills, a bill banning transgender students in girls' sports, a school safety bill focused on firearms safety, banning speed cameras in school zones, and a major tort reform package championed by Governor Kemp. Today's weather cloudy starting out in the high 50s. This afternoon, we'll see temperatures rising to the low 80s. Tomorrow, we could see record high temperatures of 85 degrees. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Neil Bortz, the talkmaster, legendary voice in Atlanta radio, touched generations with his messages and his thoughts.
Oh, yeah, I'm old.
Well, there he is.
Or just old. It depends on how you look at it. I come from a place of respect. Neil comes out, I guess, from a place of reality. All right. Well, welcome, Neil. We love you here at Extra.
I just realized, listening to you this morning, because let's face it, I'm now, it used to be that I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Okay. And I was usually at the radio station by 5 at the latest and would do at least 3 hours of show prep before I went on the air. Now I'm getting acclimated to sleeping in.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took a while. I mean, let's see, I've been retired 12 years now.
Wow, all right.
So that took a while. So now, I'm on the air this morning. I just barely made it in here. I got a couple of good April Fool's jokes for you.
By all means, fire away. Let's go.
Okay, you don't have a small news booth, do you?
No, we don't.
Boy, this worked like a charm back in the days of ring radio. Because there was a small news booth. But all you have to do is you walk into the news booth. You got a guy that's sitting there, he's reading the news. And you put a garbage can over in the corner of the news booth where he can see it. So right in the middle of the newscast, you walk in and you're hiding a little glass of water. You walk over to the corner and you very loudly unzip your pants. And then start slowly pouring that water into that garbage, into that trash can.
Right. I love where this is going.
See, this could be done back in the day. Now I would immediately catch a strike around here.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are not old enough by a long shot to ever remember Hank Morgan.
No, who's Hank Morgan?
Fair point.
Hank Morgan, he did play-by-play for the Atlanta Crackers. That's how far back.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
my daddy used to love going to watch the Crackers when because they started at Ponce de Leon Park before going over to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
So anyway, D Squared, if you're listening right now, you may want to just turn your radio off.
Oh, this could get sideways.
So, anyway. So, some guy, Hank Morgan, could not be broken on the air. There's nothing you could do to him. The trash can in the corner, nothing
fazed him.
Nothing would faze him. So one guy said, there was a little bet maybe placed. I'm going to get him. So not only does he walk into the news booth while Hank is reading the news, naked.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Then he hops up on the table where Hank has all his news copies stacked up. And he kind of squats down like he's going to do something terrible. And Hank is just reading the news. I mean, no effect, nothing. And so the guy in defeat starts to get down off the table, and he's going to have to pay off the bet. When all of a sudden there was an SBD.
Oh, yes. Silent but deadly.
Silent but deadly. And the news copy just kind of fluttered in the breeze.
Okay.
And that did it to Hank.
That got him.
That
finally got him.
It took an SBD. All right.
It took, yeah. And then one we pulled at another radio station maybe ought to remain. But there was construction going on in the building. And I'll take credit for this one. It was me. So I got a hold of those contractors, and we went to a program director's office, and we removed the framing around his door to his office, stuck a piece of drywall in there, spackle, smoothed it out, and painted it so that there was just no door there anymore.
Yeah, that's taking it all the way, man. That's getting that's getting in the punch there.
Yeah, there was no door. So this guy comes to work, and he's walking down the hallway to his office, and his office doesn't exist anymore. So we had fun with that, and then all I had to do is go up and just push my shoulder against that drywall, and it fell into his office. They hauled it off, put the frame back up, and everything was
Dude,
great.
that's dedication to the joke, though. I mean, that's going above and beyond.
Yeah, I've always had fun with it. Let me ask you something, because I really got nothing this morning. Okay?
Oh, no, I think you got a ton right now.
Well, you were going to ask me a question about something.
I don't. What was that? Just the fact that the Democrat Party is dead as we know it.
There you go again with that.
Well, am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong. They're going to be back. And they're going to be back in an even more terrible and dangerous form than they are now.
Well, yeah, because Rashida Tlaib, I don't know if you heard that segment.
Oh, I did.
When she was like, comrades, we're going to speak to him. And she is outright saying, I am a socialist, Marxist, communist. I want you to know it. They don't hide it anymore, Neil. This is something that they are out front with. They want people to know the path that they are charting forward. Democrats, I don't think your average, everyday center-left Democrat realizes what has happened to their party.
Well, that's because they don't listen to the average Democrat out there, the average person that says, well, I've always voted Democrat, and you go up there and ask them who Rashida Tlaib is, and they don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right. But would they know AOC and Bernie Sanders? I feel like they would. And they say the same thing. We are socialists. We are communists. We're Marxists.
Do they ever say we're communists?
No, usually they stick with socialists.
That's the word they avoid entirely.
But that's what it is.
But that still has a connotation to it, at least with a generation that thinks that communism is bad.
Well, you can make that very appealing to the dumb masses.
Yes, you can.
All you have to do for the dumb masses out, look, it is a terrible thing that you have to earn your way to prosperity in this country. It's a terrible thing.
Well, it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. That's part of white culture.
Whatever that means.
Well, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which ought to be very little more than a display of handguns. But, I shouldn't have said that.
You're yourself in trouble.
But the National Museum of American History and Culture wants you to be aware of certain signs of whiteness.
Is this the one in the Smithsonian that you're talking about?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And they have a little poster there, aspects and assumptions of whiteness. And one of them is hard work. That's whiteness. Individualism, that's whiteness. Objectivity. The nuclear family. If you promote and are proud of the nuclear family, mommy, daddy, children, that is whiteness. If you respect authority, like, for instance, your boss or the police, that's whiteness. Delayed gratification. Work and earn your way into this prosperity you so admire. That's whiteness. And these are the ideas that are being pushed by the Democrat Party and by socialists. And this is look, if you're somebody that barely got through high school, which was me, by the way.
Me too.
Yeah. I'll put my C- grade point average in high school up against whatever you have any day.
I gotta tell you, I think I was a D-. I mean, I barely skated by, Neil.
But anyway, these people say, that's right, I don't have to work hard. I don't have to show merit. I just because I live in America and I'm a human being, I deserve all these things. And those are the people that Democrats appeal to.
Yeah. And I'm reading an article in the Miami Herald. As you were talking about, I just did a quick search, and they talked about the apology for all that from the museum, which I just believe they're apologizing because they got caught, not because they really wanted to apologize or don't believe anything that they put out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
of course,
the whiteness culture in the United States, the aspects and assumptions of white culture.
Well, now you know the whole joke about saying, well, it's mighty white of you.
Yes, that's right.
Because apparently we now applied everything when it comes to, all right, if it has some level of trying to enhance your portion of the American dream, well, that's white entirely.
Well, yeah. And because it's white, it's not something you should expect us to have to pay attention to or adhere to. Now, I think, and this is certainly showing up in the Hispanic community and to ever greater extents in the black community, is that people are rejecting this anti-individualism, this anti-hard work. They're rejecting it and saying, no, that's not the type of society I want to live in. I want to live in a society where the harder I work, the more I get to enjoy the fruits of my labors.
That only makes sense. That's why everybody, I say everybody, most people embrace that point of view. Doesn't matter your race, your sex, none of that matters. I want to work hard and I want my hard work to pay off. I mean, that's so common sense. It's unbelievable. And most people agree with that, and most people want that to be the standard.
Well, more and more. But one thing here, the nuclear family. I mean, it seems like black thought leaders, if that's a fair phrase, keep pressing the idea that, look, it's white people that have two-parent households. White people do that. That's whiteness. You don't have to worry about that. Now, look at the statistics sometimes. 70% of births to black women in this country are out of wedlock. Okay, 70%. And if you look at the statistics at what happens to these kids, they're more likely to commit crimes. They're more likely to end up in jail being raised without a father. They're more likely to be complete failures in school. They're more likely to end up on government assistance. And the biggest tell on this, the biggest predictor on this, is being born into a fatherless household. And so, well, gee, what do we do about this? What do we do? Well, I know what we do. We start saying that the nuclear family, mom, dad, kids, that's whiteness. That white people do that. Black people don't do that. White people do that. So you take that onus off of the people that are living that lifestyle, off of the mothers who don't care who the baby daddy is, off of the baby daddies who have no sense of devotion to or responsibility toward their children. And I don't know, but that's white. That's white.
It's like what Tug has told me for a long time. The anus is on you to take care of that.
It is.
The what is on me?
Well, the anus.
The anus?
Yeah.
Onus.
Oh, onus. Yes, that's right. You misspoke, Los.
Oh, sorry. Tug told me it was one. I get it mixed
bilingual.
up.
He's
I get it mixed up. So yeah, English is a second language at this point.
It's easy to do.
So on a completely different. I got into a little jam. Yeah, the other day.
What happened?
Buddy, that's terrible.
There was a car in the parking lot of this restaurant. One of these people that every piece of scrap paper, every McDonald's wrapper, every piece of trash that they have encountered in the last 5 years has been crammed onto their dashboard.
Oh, that grosses me out.
I know. Ugh. And I got a picture. I took a picture of one of these dashboards yesterday, and I couldn't see, but the guy that driving that car was inside, and he saw me take the picture.
I like that.
So, I said, I'm sorry, sir, but your dashboard. Let me tell you this: if you showed up at my home to do some work, I don't know whether if you're a tradesman, you showed up at my home to do some work, and I saw that crap on your dashboard, I'd send you away immediately, because you have no pride in your workmanship. You're obviously. Donna had to grab me by the elbow and take me away from it.
Well, they're disorganized. Like, this is how, Neil, this is how my wife lives. When my kids are in her car, She allows him to eat. She allows him to do whatever. And her car looks nasty all the time. And every single time I'm like, how can you live like that? How can you get in that vehicle and drive around in that thing?
Yeah, and where are you sleeping tonight?
I know. It'll be on the couch at some point.
He's like Donna.
Oh, I stepped in it again.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Donna says you just can't help yourself, can you? You know you're going to get really hurt sometime. I got bear spray.
That's all you need, I hear. That's what I'm told. That bear spray is what you need to keep with you all the time. Neil, thank you so much. What's the plan for the day?
I'm going back to bed.
Attaboy.
There we go.
Oh, lucky duck.
Yeah.
Neil Bortz, Talkmaster, only on Extra 106.3. The greatest of all time, right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth. We love spending time
Tried
with
the
you.
whole anus-onus thing on somebody today.
Dude, it's so funny. And it'll stop people in their tracks.
I'll make it a point to do that with maybe the next waitress.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the anus is on you to take care of this.
Do you mean onus? No, I don't. Thanks, Neil.
Y'all be good.
You too. It's just... Oh, my God. We've laughed about that. And laughed about that and laughed about that when Los shared the original story from his days out in at Texas. When we come back on Extra 106, 6 o'clock hours brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. Men pretending to be women sets off a real woman. Next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Tuesday, April 2nd. The Braves are 0-6 after losing to the Dodgers last night, 3-1 the final. The Braves close out the series tonight as Bryce Elder comes up to get the start. He'll be opposed by Blake Snell. First pitch is set for 8:38. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. Off the field, the Braves, well, they have another injury situation as all-star starting pitcher Ronaldo Lopez will have surgery on his shoulder. The procedure will determine just how much damage Lopez has in that shoulder. As for the Hawks, they play the second game of a back-to-back after losing last night at home to the Trailblazers. Tonight, the team is in Dallas to play the Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 8:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Shooting drills. A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve, but one who genuinely cares about each player.
You have what it takes. We got this.
Can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Hey, homeowners, it's Flounder, and I'm here to keep you warm. Well, I won't, but my friends at Dobbs Heating and Air will. As a new homeowner myself, I prefer working with local, family-owned companies who value what matters to me and treats my home like it's their own. The Dobbs family have a passion for what they do, and taking care of people is their primary goal. So if your home needs help staying warm right now, call Dobbs Heating and Air and experience the Dobbs difference. And check them out online at dobbshvac.com.
You need a pre-owned car or truck, but you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork. Come on. You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
Neil Bortz here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now, I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs, etc. SCC.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Oh, that's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/score. Ethos.com/score.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
When you hear the term living better, what do you think about? More money? A bigger house? Maybe a yacht? What about how you feel physically? How you wake up each day? How you sleep? What activities you can and cannot do? When you feel good, life is good. So if pain is affecting your life, see how Relief Factor can help. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or even eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call, 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're hurting, in 3 weeks or even days, Relief Factor can give you a chance to rediscover the true meaning of living better again. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
That is later this afternoon at 3. Prior to getting there, we got the Glenn Beck program. After we're done at 10, good morning, it's Tug and Los, the Morning Extra. And then the 10 to noon, like I said, Beck. And then the biggest show in all of conservative media, the Clay and Buck Show. Just carrying the torch lit by the late, great Rush Limbaugh. So I have no desire to be mean or rude to anybody. That's just the way I carry myself. Most of the time. Most of the time, right? Sure.
I just love that every now and then we have the station of honesty, and sometimes you have to be honest.
Yes.
And if it hurts a feeling, it hurts a feeling.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't want
Not intentionally, just being honest.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be dishonest ever. I think honesty is the best policy, no matter what. It's, when you've done something wrong, you admit to it. You're honest. It's difficult to do, but it's the right thing to do. I told you the story of being down at the SEC championship, and I was trying to find a bar that my cousin and I were going to. He had a connection with Dr. Pepper, and we were going to this Dr. Pepper function before the SEC championship. And we go into one of the hotels downtown, and I walk up, and I was like, "How are you, ma'am?" And immediately realized that I was not talking to a ma'am. But I didn't change my position. I didn't change the way I spoke to this person. And they told me what they were supposed to tell me, and thank you, ma'am. Have a great day. And as I walked away, there was no doubt in my mind that wasn't a ma'am. And my cousin Nick, who just texted me and said, "I'm listening right now."
What's up?
Good morning, Nick in Orlando.
Hello, Nick.
We walk away, and Nick turns to me and is like, I don't know, that was a ma'am. And I was like, "Nick, you're exactly right. It was not a ma'am." But that's the point. Like, I didn't change my point of view. I didn't change my behavior. I didn't change the way that I interacted with this person. Had no desire to be rude to them, but I couldn't turn off my common sense. You're not able to do that. I want you to hear this woman, an actual woman, a real woman, pretending or talking about men who are pretending to be women, and she lays it out exactly the way it needs to be.
There's no such thing as trans.
Why don't you think so?
Because they're just people pretending to be something they're not. What is this gender identity? What is that? Somebody explain that to me. Show it to me on the body. It's not a real thing. It's an idea, right? I am not an idea in a man's head. My reality is real. My body is real. The things that I live with, the things that I go through are unique to me and all the women here. A man will never experience that. Because a man feels like a girl, that he is a girl, is ludicrous. So I don't use the word. I say men pretending to be or women pretending to be, because that's all it is. You're pretending to be something that you're not.
I mean, you cannot argue with that woman. She's exactly right. We've seen videos of men who fancy themselves as women pretending to have cramps. It's not real.
Oh, they'll be rolling around on the floor being like, "Oh, this is so terrible. I can't believe I'm having to deal with this." And in my mind, the one thought is, what kind of craziness are you creating in your mind to try and act like you have period cramps?
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It makes no sense, and that woman nails it because she's actually experienced those things as a woman. And to be honest, it irritates me. It pisses me off when someone thinks that they can be the same as my wife or be the same as my mother, because they can't. And that's insulting to them. And so by insulting them, I have a problem with it. Now, in my daily life, I'm not going to go after anybody. I have no desire to do it, but I'm not going to play along either. You know, and I say I don't. I did. I guess I did downtown. I didn't. I'm not going to be rude to anybody on purpose, but I can't turn off the spidey sense, and I'm not going to pretend to. I'm not going to trick myself or try to trick myself. Am I making sense?
No, and nor should you. I think a lot of this comes down to, we're going to show a level of gratitude and compassion to people that are dealing with, by and large, a mental issue.
That's it.
That's what it comes down to. Now, because it is a mental issue, by and large, do I now, am I justified in not taking part in your mental issue? And I think that's the argument that happens back and forth. I think one of the things that we talk about on this show on a regular basis is, how do you be a good human? Like, what are you doing? Like, you choose to fight on certain grounds where this I will not put up with, this I will. This is one of those where I look at it and I always say the same thing. If it makes you feel good, fine. All right, we're cool. If it doesn't encroach into my bedroom, my house, totally cool. Stay out of my girls' sports.
That's right. Do not go after my daughters, because that's when I put my foot down.
Yeah, I mean, we're good on every other front. If you want me to, if you were Dave, 2 years ago, and you want me to call you Deborah, I'm going to call you Deborah.
But I can't turn my spidey sense off.
But my spidey sense is going, that's Dave.
I can't turn my common sense off. Did you see the video of then Ellen Page, now Elliot Page?
Yeah, that is, and I'll say this, Tug. She is very honest, is very honest about the molestation that occurred in Hollywood. And if you want to talk about a warp...
Yeah. And I believe that happens, and we actually have audio of it, I think, later in the show, or maybe it was there. I don't know. We have audio of the discussion of the filth that is that in Hollywood. I think Justin Bieber, I think Britney Spears, I think they've all been taken advantage of in ways that we can't even imagine.
Well, the former, as we now we're Elliot Page, whatever. We're talking about 3 different times at a minimum. That is what she has talked about being basically raped on set and having things happen. And you want to talk about the cruelty of what goes on with the mind. That woman decided to hack off her breasts and to look as male as possible in order to be left alone, because she was raped over, while doing different movies, and decided, what's the best way to avoid being raped? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me not be attractive at all.
Yeah, because that will put someone, that happening to them will put them in an obvious, horrible mental situation. I would imagine depression and anxiety and all the stuff that comes along with something as horrible as that happening to her. Now, however you want to say it, I feel horrible for the person who is known as Elliot Page now, because when I watched that video, and it was Elliot talking about how doing all these things that are like what a man does makes him, whatever it is, feel better about the world around them and better about themselves. But it's not the way a dude acts. I've never seen a dude act that way ever.
And that's the whole thing. We joke around about Dylan Mulvaney playing some sort of weird version of a woman. None of us know women who act like this. I think that was the deal that we got with Elliot Page, where as much as she is trying to act like a man, she just ain't a man.
No.
It's just what it is.
It's not even close. It's not even similar.
And so by the time that you're done with all this, you're basically going, all right, you hacked off your breast, you decided to go down this road, and it almost feels like camouflage.
Oh, it definitely does. That's
that person like leave me alone. I'm camouflaging so you don't try and abuse me anymore.
But the thing she doesn't understand is that it happens to little boys too.
Yep. Oh my God! You want to talk about some of the crazy stuff? Look into Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
Oh my gosh! Absolutely,
and what they grew up with in Hollywood and the amount of sexual abuse that they took. It's not all of Hollywood. I'm not acknowledging this. What I will say is pedophilia has a home in Hollywood, and man, they take advantage of some of these young kids.
Dude, it may not be all of Hollywood, but I would say it's the majority. I really do believe that.
It's a large amount. They look the other way.
All the time. All the time. It's unbelievable what's happened. I really do feel horrible for Elliot Page. I really have. I'm sympathetic because I can't imagine what that person is going through. Dylan Mulvaney's a different story. I don't know that I feel necessarily sorry for him. I know he has the same mental issues, it's clear, but I really don't have the same sympathy for one as I do the other. Anyway, we'll continue on Extra 106.3 after a Fox News update. The Maryland father that Democrats want you to bring back to America, they want Trump to bring back to America, is a guy that we do not want in America. We'll explain if you've not heard the story. Next on the Morning Extra.
Hey, it's the Kimmer. Look out. The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6, just like the Kimmer. Finally, NPR has had to admit that it did some really bad, stupid things in failing to promptly cover the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. NPR acknowledges we were mistaken in failing to cover the Hunter Biden laptop story more aggressively or sooner. What do you mean? You failed to cover it more aggressively? How about cover it at all, except saying it was a bunch of crap and wasn't worthy of your acknowledgement?
They do a lot of great stuff with Masterpiece.
Yes, they do.
P.G. Woodhouse stuff that I grew up watching.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Why the hell is one penny? Why do they need a news department? Why are they doing news?
Right.
They shouldn't be anywhere near a government-funded news source.
Right. We don't want the government involved in the news. Didn't we all agree to that?
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Things at the ballpark are really heating up. If too much celebrating leaves you in trouble after the game, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds from the stadium to the city, and in most cases, we can have you or your loved one out in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, rewards members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
It's April 2nd, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, a staple of kids at lunch and some adults too, although now outlawed at many schools because of kids with peanut allergies. The leader of the Catholic Church, Pope John Paul II, died on this day in 2005. Elected in 1978, he was the first non-Italian pope since the 16th century. He was also the most traveled pontiff in history, clocking more than 750,000 miles around the globe. Also on this day, in 1917, two events in our nation's capital. Jeanette Rankin, the first woman elected to Congress, takes her seat at the U.S. Capitol as a representative for Montana. President Woodrow Wilson goes to Congress asking to send U.S. troops into battle against Germany. And in 1982, Argentina invades the Falkland Islands, a British colony since 1892 that Great Britain took back 2 months later. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A teacher from Pennsylvania makes the Dean's List for spreading kindness through her students and the community. Every semester, Christina Alme gives her students $20 with a heartfelt request. Use it to do something good. It started back in 2018 when Christina lost her sister Katie in a car accident. The police officer had brought the purse Katie was carrying when she passed away, and it had over $100 in tips. Christina wanted to make sure the cash went towards something good because her sister was always doing something for others. So combining her sister's money and some of her own savings, Christina gave each of her students $20 and asked them to perform a random act of kindness in Katie's honor. It was called the $20 Challenge. Her students came up with wonderful ideas like giving to an animal shelter, helping the homeless, and veterans. Students have performed over 350 acts of kindness in her sister's memory. Janice Dean, Fox News.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
Republicans will have a little bigger majority in the House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After winning 2 special elections in Florida,
I have now gotten your vote because President Trump asked you to vote for me.
Randy Fine and Jimmy Petronas, backed by the president, winning 2 vacant House seats.
And I'm looking forward to working with him to help rebuild our military, to close the border, to keep men out of women's sports.
Now, they both won by about 14 points in heavily Republican districts, despite being far outspent by Democrats Gabe Alamont and Josh Weil. But in Wisconsin, a conservative backed by the president and millions of Elon Musk's dollars lost a Supreme Court race.
Yeah, I've called Judge Crawford and conceded.
I'm here tonight because I've spent my life fighting to do what's right.
That's Susan Crawford. Her victory will keep the court liberal-leaning, but President Trump liked one election result in Wisconsin, thanking voters on Truth Social for
enshrining the state's voter ID law in their constitution. Trump saying, quote, "This is a big win for Republicans, maybe the biggest win of the night. It should allow us to win Wisconsin like I just did in the presidential election for many years to come."
That's Fox's Brooks Sigmund, and this is what the president calls Liberation Day, announcing more tariffs later on imports.
The full details remain unclear, but what we know so far, reciprocal tariffs could be less than what other countries charge the U.S., and rates may vary depending on country. New tariffs could apply to all countries around the world in sector-specific products. Steel and aluminum, well, those tariffs have already been put on to 25%, and the auto import tariff is expected to start today. That's cars and car parts, and they will begin collected tomorrow.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Actor Val Kilmer's died. A star of movies in the 80s and 90s, from Batman, The Tombstone, to Top Gun.
You figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot?
Val Kilmer's daughter says he died of pneumonia at age 65. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Support conservative conversation on the radio in Atlanta by emailing us at sales@xtra1063.com.
Support the folks that support your ideas. They support your values. Those companies advertise here on Extra 106.3 in the morning show, Tug and Los until 10. And then, of course, the afternoon show with the Kimmer. Those folks that you hear, they value the same things that you do. So if you need a new roof, reach out to Southern Exteriors. Let them earn your business. If you want to be prepared for whatever comes your way, and Los can talk about this directly, having been through a hurricane that completely destroyed a home in Florida. He's got to be prepared. True Prep is the place to go.
Yeah, you try and just prepare yourself for whatever happens, whatever contingencies, and to see what had gone on in that community where people didn't have running water. Everything was, you're basically told, hey, this can get you sick. You got to boil it. The amount of people that had to figure out because they were not prepared on whether it was a handout or they had to figure out a way to scrape by. That was the time period when I was like, nope, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be ready for whatever comes my way.
Indeed. Want to take care of your home or your business when it comes to your HVAC, central heating and air conditioning. If you maybe own a lawn company, Howard Brothers, they're just great companies that share your values, that advertise here on Extra. Give them the first opportunity to earn your business. It's the only thing we ask. And I hope you'll take that into consideration. 404-741-1230 is the number on Liberation Day. I tell you, man, I can't help but be giddy because I see the meltdown of the mainstream media. And usually anytime they melt down, it's actually good for America. What comes after their meltdown is good for the country. And I'm very optimistic that we'll hear today some of the plan that has been set into motion or will be set into motion by the White House and the Trump administration. You heard Carolyn Leavitt talk about the reciprocal tariffs. It's just leveling the playing field. That is all it is. Do not listen to the mainstream spin. Do not listen to them tell you that Donald Trump is trying to make things more difficult for you, that he's going against our allies. Which allies? Which ones are you talking about? Because I don't know if we have any anymore. If I'm being completely honest.
I'm feeling the exact same way. If you're going to tell me, who are we allied with? And we spent some time yesterday talking about how Europe has now fallen completely off the map when it comes to freedom. We are on this on our own at this point. If we're talking about, trying to defend a representative republic, we're the ones, and this is it. This is all.
That's right. I don't know what we have in common with Europe anymore. And Los did an excellent job laying it out yesterday. If you missed any of it, go back and listen to the show on the Extra 106.3 app at some point at your convenience, because when you see people that can be arrested for praying in their home quietly, that doesn't resemble,
that's alarming.
That doesn't resemble freedom.
No.
I saw a great piece, and maybe you saw it too, was with Tucker Carlson talking to Piers Morgan. And they were talking about how World War II, gave Europe its freedom. And Tucker's like, well, where is it today? Because who actually won? You can't pray in your house without being arrested. You can't post a meme on social media without being thrown into jail. Did you really win anything? Or if you did then, you certainly handed it off since then. And it's a fascinating, I only saw about a minute of it, but it stood out to me and it echoed what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, there was portions of it, because I got a chance to watch it as well, where I just went, wow, that resonates with me, because the things that I feel like I have brought up, when there are corresponding pieces of video that says, look what's happening, here's where you're right. All right, now I've moved away from conspiracy theorist Los. I don't have on the tinfoil hat. Instead, it is, I'm observant, I see what's happening, and I'm trying to adjust accordingly. And hopefully the rest of the world, if they're really into freedom, they will recognize what is going on.
Well, let's us hope that's the case. Morning Extra, Extra 106.3. So the Maryland father has been presented to you as this terrific man that's been married, has a special needs kid. They throw that in there. They want to make sure that they tug at the heartstrings. Do I hope the best for that child? Of course I do. But does it make me think that he's Father of the Year because he has a special needs child? No, it does not. So this framing, and the White House has admitted that this person was under temporary orders to stay in the United States. So they're admitting that fault. However, they do question, and you heard Carolyn Leavitt talk about it. You heard them say, this man is a terrorist. This man is part of MS-13. And the judge in the original case against this man, who came to the United States in 2012 and has been here for many years, the judge that basically he went in front of said, yes, this man is a MS-13 gang member. Yes, that is the truth. When he was arrested originally, he was with other MS-13 members of the gang. Now, they did find a sympathetic judge to put him under temporary orders to stay in the United States. You know how they cherry pick those judges, and this man's lawyer was able to do that. It didn't change the fact that he is a member of MS-13. But if you listen to The Atlantic, if you listen to CNBC, if you listen to MSNBC and CNN, they're going to tell you this is a fine, upstanding young man, and we need to make sure, Los, that we keep him in the United States of America.
Well, and that's what showed up in The Atlantic. It was, Maryland father deported after all this amount of time. What they never showed was that when it comes to his home country, he's implicated in a number of crimes. And then, obviously, he's a guy who, in 2011, came across the border, was apprehended, I believe it was 2014, and that was the point where he tried to make an asylum argument as to why he was here.
That's right. Donald Trump sent 17 members of gangs to El Salvador, and the left would have you bring them back to the United States of America. It's unreal that these people are on the wrong side of every argument. They're not crying for Laken Riley. They're not crying for anybody that's been any life that's been taken of an American citizen. They're not crying for that. They sat on their hands during a speech when it was mentioned. Yet, they want you to believe that Donald Trump's in the wrong for taking these people out of the country. So much so that Jamie Raskin even said, right on cue, and he's referring to this innocent, quote unquote, innocent Maryland father who was deported. Bring them back. Listen to this.
While appealing whichever ones they want to appeal, and to demand the return of people unlawfully taken to El Salvador on that so-called plane full of gangbangers.
There's no legal right to be in the United States. He broke the law to come here, an illegal immigrant. That's first. Second thing, and you've seen Stephen Miller all over TV and all over social media kind of echoing these same points. First of all, he's here illegally. That's a reason to be deported. Second of all, a judge said this man is a member of MS-13. We know that. That's it, dude. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want the dude in the country. Jamie Raskin might. The Democrats might. I do not. I don't want to see him come back. And the Trump administration agrees, so he's not.
No, and that's, I think a lot of this comes down to, we talk about optics. We talk about like how certain things are viewed, and the way that the liberal media has had to bend over backwards to make this come across as just that average Joe who was looking for a better life. And I get that. We've talked about it before, and you and I both have been completely in agreement. If we were both in Mexico and we realized we could make 3 times as much money by crossing the border and then being able to make money, so yeah, we both said it's like, I would definitely do it. No questions asked. But you're also talking about a criminal element. And so as we go through this process, if you're a criminal, you're going to be kicked out of here.
It's pretty simple. It's easy to understand, and the American people back it up. The American people support it at record numbers, at like 81%. And if you boil it down, Republican to Democrat, Democrats are in the 60s as far as percentages of getting people who are in this country illegally out, specifically if they have criminal records, have broken the law in the country that they came from, or continue to break the law in the United States of America. And that includes violent crimes. You can even boil it down to shoplifting, and the numbers still say the same thing, that we want these people out of here.
Well, I mean,
and I'm all for it. I don't know how you argue it.
Well, that was the point of the Riley Act, was that if you are willing to do these certain crimes, and you've already done the crime of crossing our border, then we feel like we're trying to head this off at the pass before it gets to something more violent. You're out of here. And so to see a lot of these circuit court judges trying to do what they're doing, violating basically the Constitution in terms of them overstepping into the executive branch, they're the ones that are trying to enable this stuff to happen. It still comes back to, if you commit a crime, and again, you've crossed the border. Okay, crime number 1. That's what it is. But we are a forgiving society, as you heard. Tug and I both said, hey, man, if this was a scenario, we would both cross the border, and this is what we would do. But then when you're here, you got to act right. And to see what the backlash has been when you get rid of someone who has this amazing amount of gangster affiliation, it's very enlightening to see what actually is the game that's being played as of now.
The Democrats, though, and the leftists, they would pretend that this is a due process issue, and they know it's not. They do not care about due process. They do not care about the law. They do not care, but that's their presentation because it has to be. They can't say you're deporting the people we brought here to vote for us. They can't say that. So they're going to go back to, well, they're not getting their due process. They're not getting their rights. They're not being judged the way that Americans are being judged. Well, first of all, yes, because they're here illegally. They don't have the same rights as an American.
Yeah, you have a limited amount of due process.
That's right. But that's their presentation. That's what they're going to continue to pretend that they care about when that's not what they care about at all, Los.
Well, they have a limited amount of, due process being what it is. Yes, you are entitled to a certain amount of due process, but when you're not a citizen of this country, you do not get to enjoy every single right that we have. I mean, that's a very important factor in all of this. And so, when people get into this whole bit of like, well, you rounded them up and you sent them to El Salvador. Well, they don't really have legal standing once we decide they're not supposed to be here. It's not like they're taking American citizens and sending them to El Salvador. That would be a controversy. In this case, it turns into, okay, cool. They have the ability to house anyone and everyone, and these happen to be really hardcore gang members.
And I want to be clear, that's the only thing that the Trump administration is admitting to being wrong about. In the temporary protected status that this man had, his last name is Garcia, the Garcia man from Maryland had, was the judge said you cannot send him to El Salvador. That's the mistake that they made. They could have sent him to Venezuela. They could have sent him to Mexico. They could have sent him anywhere they wanted to. But the only mistake that they made is that he ended up in El Salvador. Not that he shouldn't have been deported. Not that he shouldn't have gone somewhere other than here. There is no mistake about that. He needed to be deported. Legally, he should have been deported. The mistake they made, the administrative mistake they made, was sending him to El Salvador. That's it. That's what you're not hearing.
Yeah.
That's what's not being discussed.
That's all that it comes down to. And I would love if we get to a point where somebody's able to get into the jacket and flat out point out, here are all the things this person is accused of. And then tell me how you're comfortable with that person based on the accusations or based on stuff they've been convicted of, how you're happy with them being your neighbor.
They're not.
Good luck.
Nobody's going to be like, yeah, sign me up. Mr. Garcia can come live next to me. Who's going to invite a gang member to live next door? Democrats wouldn't. They got big gates in front of their house, so they can't. No one can. We saw it. I bring up this example all the time, but I think it's worth bringing up again when they went to Martha's Vineyard. The sanctuary city, the huge sign, we are a sanctuary. You are welcome. 50 people showed up. They were there about 24 hours until they called in the National Guard to take them away. That's how much they wanted people like Mr. Garcia to be their neighbor. They do not. They're pretending. This is all about removing people that they thought they would get here to eventually get them a Social Security number, to eventually get them on the payroll, and to eventually get them to vote for them.
And have them vote. I think that was an important factor of something we covered yesterday when we went through. They were assigned systematically. Here is a Social Security number. Here's how you're going to be able to draw on the American taxpayer. Here's how you're going to get the money that you believe you're entitled to. And, oh, by the way, just make sure you vote for Joe Biden.
That's right. Do not forget that. That is the piece you cannot miss, that you cannot get wrong. And we saw it, and I can't remember who was the audio we played yesterday, but it was basically them breaking down what they would do at the border. They would go in, and the Biden administration told the ICE agents, told the Border Patrol agents, don't arrest these people, just give them a parking ticket, the equivalent of a parking ticket.
Yeah.
That's how we get around all of this legal issue for these people coming to the United States illegally, whether they have a criminal background or not. Write them a parking ticket and tell them they have to show up in court maybe 6 months, maybe 6 years, who knows. But we can get around all the things we want to, and ultimately that would be dismissed, and they would then be into the United States under asylum or some sort of temporary protection, just like Mr. Garcia.
But this is why they came from around the world. You know, as much as we want to point over at Mexico, because that's been the point of entry.
There are countries, every country nearly was represented.
We have like Afghanistan, okay? Like we had all over the world, people were showing up, but they knew the game, which was show up, whether it's through a port of entry or whether it was getting across the border and being apprehended. And the first thing you start singing is how you're persecuted in your home country, you're scared, and this is why you need your day in court.
Yeah. And they would tell you that Mr. Garcia needs to come back. You heard Jamie Raskin. Figure it out. Get them back. And the American people say, no, thank you.
I'm not going down to El Salvador and go, hey, about those 1,200 people and then the 1,700 people after that, I need you to go ahead and tag them and bag them and send them right back here.
Right back here. The American
people.
Not
a good idea.
You want to, because the American people, if you look at the polling, as I mentioned a minute ago, the polling is through the roof. And you can't get people to agree on anything. And most everybody, it's an 80-20 issue. And 80% believe that this is the right thing to do. If Donald Trump were to reverse course and go the other way and bring those back in, do you know how quickly his approval ratings would fall? Because that's what we voted for.
Yep.
That's the way it would work. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Wisconsin pulls Obama into the game. We'll talk about what happened in Wisconsin, Florida too. Next on the Morning Extra, get your headlines. This is Extra 106.3, Tug and Los until 10.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Joe Biden, when he was president, would send planes south of the border, load them up with illegals, and fly them into the United States, avoiding border checks. Trump just did the opposite. Once again, the worthlessness of Joe Biden and the Democrat Party on display, and the courage and determination of Donald Trump responding to the weakness of Joe Biden. They were child sexual predators, accused of kidnapping, assault, being pimps, robbery, aggravated assault of police officers. They're now in that terrorist holding facility in El Salvador. Love it. Just imagine the anguish of Democrats and progs and Joe Biden and his henchmen as they watch their master plot being destroyed.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about True Prep and being ready for whatever comes your way. I talk about some of the stuff that I've been through when it comes to, like, when my daughter was born. Okay, so back in 2010, we had my little girl, and then guess what happened? That was the first time that I ever experienced the craziness of, like, a snowmageddon here in Atlanta, Georgia. What happened? My neighbor got snowed in. His wife was pregnant, and they had to call an ambulance to get them out of their home. That was the time period where I was glad that I had already started a little bit of prepping. This is where you start to do this work with True Prep. You get yourself ready for emergency situations just to be ready, because you never know what happens. Preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. That is what True Prep can help you out with. And they're consultative. They will work with you when you talk about, hey, I want to just be ready in case this happens. They're able to help you from there. Hey, maybe you're just an avid camper. They can help you with a lot of that stuff. They have the equipment to take care of that. Or when it comes to personal security, they also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, as well as ammo at the lowest prices out there. They're locally owned. They're locally operated. When you get into the store, you get a chance to talk with everybody in there, and they can help you out. What do you do from here? Well, you can go over to Marietta on Cobb Parkway, or you can go online. TruePrep.com. That's TRUPrep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
This is Tom with the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, what's with all this honesty stuff?
We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly.
How honestly?
We guarantee that each vehicle we sell will come with a bill of sale showing what we paid for the vehicle. You'll pay what we pay, plus our disclosed fee guaranteed.
No gimmicks or tricks?
Nope.
Man, this sounds like a new way to buy a car.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com. Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people.
Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Wednesday, April 2nd. More layoffs occurred yesterday at the Center for Disease Control. 2,400 employees are expected to lose their positions as part of DOGE cuts. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy says the restructuring is needed to make the department more effective. DeKalb County Police arrested 11 people and impounded 10 cars this past weekend as part of a statewide crackdown on illegal street racing and street takeovers. Officers also issued 40 traffic citations and seized several firearms during the operation. The Georgia General Assembly nears the end of its legislative session. Among the bills, a bill banning transgender students in girls' sports, a school safety bill focused on firearms safety, banning speed cameras in school zones, and a major tort reform package championed by Governor Kemp. Today's weather, cloudy starting out in the high 50s. This afternoon, we'll see temperatures rising to the low 80s. Tomorrow, we could see record high temperatures of 85 degrees. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
7 o'clock hours brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. vansantlaw.com. Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. So, Wisconsin elects another liberal to their Supreme Court. So the balance of power stays where it is. But all I kept hearing about last night, and this morning I'm seeing it too, is how the left, they defeated Elon Musk. This was a referendum on Elon Musk. We beat I think it was Tim Walz I saw. We beat the billionaire. That was his post. Freaking two-hand waving Tim Walz is talking about how they beat the billionaire. And
Yay, we won! Yay!
That's right. Way to go, Coach. Boy, way to make everybody feel like champions today. But I couldn't help but notice that he left out the billionaires that were involved on the other side. Elon Musk was on, the side of the conservative, and George Soros on the other side. You had J.B. Pritzker. I believe he's a multimillionaire. There's all kinds of millionaires and billionaires that were funneling money into the leftist on that Supreme Court. Conveniently left out, though, those.
I will just point this out. This is how desperate they are. As much as we get to point over at Elon as the richest man in the world and say he got involved, the number one name in all of crazy liberal Democrat politics, they had to pull Barack Obama into the fray. That is
another
how
millionaire.
desperate. That's how desperate they were in order to make this thing happen. Now, congratulations. Hey, you won there. Okay, fine. You won there. But the fact that you had to get Barack Obama involved in a Supreme Court general election in the state of Wisconsin. All right, do we realize how small potatoes this is, where you're having to go to the biggest Democrat hitter in order to make sure that you win? That is how desperate they have now become, and they're going to play this up for a few days. Look how well we did. Look what
we're back.
Dude, had to go and get Barack Obama involved in a minor state election.
Yeah, which doesn't say a lot about the standing that you have among the American people. And it was interesting that the voter ID that passed and will be put into the Wisconsin Constitution.
Well, that's the end of voting for them.
I know, right? The leftists, they're celebrating their victory, and great, you got it. Tip the hat, I guess. But I find it interesting that those voters chose a liberal justice but went with a very conservative measure on voting. That tells you how important the American people see having an ID to vote, and the fact that they do care about election integrity. The Democrats would tell you that this is nothing but racism boxed up and put with a bow on top. And most Americans would say, no, dumbass, you have to have your ID to open up Xfinity cable. It's important to know who you are, and that your vote is supposed to be cast or should not be cast.
Well, this is the next great fight. This is going to be the huge battle because when it comes right down to it, Kamala Harris, the only states she won were states that did not require to have an ID to vote.
Right.
I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. That's just a very simple way of saying, why was the election where it was? Well, it was a little closer than it probably should have been because illegals are voting, 10 to 20 million of them, and in these other states, you didn't require a valid ID to vote. Once you get rid of those, suddenly everything swings wildly into our favor, and that is going to be the battleground that they do not want to allow happen. The liberals out there are going to fight this tooth and nail across the board.
Well, they're not going to be able to fight it in Wisconsin anymore. It's in the Constitution. Buddy, you're going to have to have an act of God to change that. That's going to get a lot of people riled up with nothing they can do about it. Does it suck that they have another leftist on their Supreme Court? Absolutely it does.
Yeah, it does.
Because they're going to gerrymander. They're going to redraw the district lines. And look, both parties do it. I'm not saying they don't, because they do. But that's what's going to happen in Wisconsin. They're going to try to figure out a way that Donald Trump or a Republican cannot win that state again. That is the goal. That was the whole point. Knowing that they have that ability and that power, because when that comes up and they draw the lines, the Republicans will reject it. They'll send it through the courts. It'll get to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The leftists will uphold it. That's the way it works. That's the game.
And by the way, we did have elections in Florida, but yet the mainstream media acts like, oh, no, it was only Wisconsin. I mean, that's how this game worked. They were so desperate for any sort of win that now it turns into, hey, we've been getting smashed all around the country. Let's focus on Wisconsin.
And it was CNN, I believe, I saw last night when they were calling it pretty early in Florida. I mean, it was the Panhandle. I mean, that is Trump country. It is blood red.
Oh, 35% is largely what he won by.
And the folks on CNN, I think it was Jake Tapper and someone else. I just saw it last night, and it was just a brief clip that someone had shared on social media. You can find me at Tug Cowerton, at Front Office Los, if you're looking for us across the social media platforms. But they were talking about how, well, it was closer than they expected. I mean, that was the celebration. That was the moral victory that they had with what happened down in Florida, because it went exactly like we expected, and that's great. And it'll continue to be Florida blood red, and I'm glad to see it. But that was what they had to hang on to, Jeray, is the fact that they didn't lose as badly as they expected to.
Well, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
That's right, exactly.
Well,
not elections.
Yeah, but again, close, relatively speaking. I mean, this election, when you're having an election in April, it's really about, can you get the word out? Can you get the turnout? And what happened in Florida was the Republican who ended up winning was was outspent 5-1, yet was still able to win because the word got out. You've got to go and make sure you vote for this person. That is really the difference of what is going on with these elections. If we just talk about an election in November, people know to turn out to the polls and to vote for who they're going to vote for and to support them. When you have special elections in April, it really is about, can you generate enough money to create turnout?
Okay, I found the tweet, and it is of Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, and they're going back and forth. And this is how you know it's real bad for them. They're celebrating a double-digit loss, and it said he's going to win. Yeah, this is Jake Tapper talking. He's going to win, but Dana, it's not by 5 points. Yeah, I mean that was the silver lining on to CNN.
Hey, look at the ground we made up. Because what happens is it's going to be turned into, hey, Donald Trump won this area by 35, 36 points. Well, they only ended up winning by X amount here going forward.
It was still double digits.
Exactly. It still was not close.
Yeah.
But yet
it wasn't 35.
They're going to point it out and say, look at the ground we've made up in a state like Florida. I tell you what, send every one of your people that you want to run for office to Florida, and what I will send you is a political carcass.
Absolutely.
Okay? Florida is where right now woke goes to die.
That's right. Hand them the big L. Hang it on the wall, put it on your car, make sure you're wearing it around your neck, because that's what you're going to get, and that's what you did get. And I would say even in Wisconsin, yeah, you lose the Senate or the Supreme Court seat, which was already tilted to the left. It's not like they really did anything. They improved their majority in their Supreme Court. It didn't do anything. But that voting ID being put in the Constitution, that is going to be a thorn in their side for the remainder of time, because it ain't ever coming out. Tommy Tuberville's a guy I like a whole bunch. Let me tell you, when he was coaching at Auburn, I didn't care for him all that much.
Well, I mean, he was beating Georgia on a regular basis.
with some regularity. I was not a fan. Outside of his coaching days, I do like him as a senator from Alabama. And when he talks about the things that we did through the last several decades to damage America and build up pretty much all of our... Listen to the people that he talks about us building up. And I mean their economies, and that's what he's referring to. It should make you shudder just a little bit.
We have built China, the American taxpayers. We have built the Middle East. We have built Europe. So now it's time they help us build back our country after we've helped them so much, and that happens through tariffs. So, I mean, it's going to be a slow process. There's going to be some pain before gains, but we've got to do it.
Yes, we do. And when you think about those economies that we built up, China, your number one enemy, the biggest enemy that the United States have, we built them. The taxpayers, the U.S. taxpayers, you and I built them through horrible policy, horrible free trade agreements that were established in the 90s. You know, it started under Bill Clinton and then has continued. You know, what was it, NAFTA to begin with, and then they recently, changed it up a few years ago, and it's now the USMCA.
Right.
But your number one enemy in China, you built them up. The Middle East, find me someone aside from Israel that loves the United States in the Middle East. And Europe, as we discovered as of the last few years, we have zero in common with. Nothing when it comes to freedom, nothing when it comes to culture. We have nothing in common with these people anymore. And that's who we have spent all of our money on while degrading the United States all along the way.
And I'll tell you this, Tug, and I appreciate, Coach Tuberville and Senator Tuberville.
Let's go, Coach.
He's got two. You got to point out both of them. I appreciate that he's pointing this out to the American people, in part because of this. We have gotten into, it's the story and the lesson of World War II that you can't leave people on their butts. You have to make it a point to help rebuild their society, rebuild their economy, make them allies so that they're allies moving forward. The problem that I believe that we have had is that we have been more than willing for the better part of 30 to 40 years to take it on the chin in the interest of, all right, the American people will still be consumers, we'll handle that, and your tariffs and your taxes, we'll just let it ride. This is the first time we've had it in the better part of 40 years where we've had a chief executive say, no longer, we're not building up anybody. If we do it, it's because we invested in that area, not because we went ahead and handed over our money.
Right. And that's all Donald Trump wants to do is level the playing field. Make it fair for America, make it fair for Americans, and do things in the best interest of the United States, because it's been so long since we've had someone who actually did that. We've heard them talk about it. Same way we've heard them talking about, getting in there, cutting the fraud, wasted, abused. Every president has used that as a platform. Yes, we're going to get in there and do it. Absolutely. I know there's fraud. You know there's fraud. We're going to fix it. And none of them had the courage to do it. Or, I say courage, probably more desire.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Part of the reason why I appreciate, and I do it now every single day, I go over to Doge.gov, and I just want to know what's the next round of stuff we found. And one of the areas that they're going to talk about, and Elon Musk brought it up yesterday, was how did these people, congressmen, get so rich on $170,000 in salary? How did they end up making this money? And so, as much as I want to point at these different countries and say, man, they're scheming us, they're taking advantage of us, man, they're also doing it here too.
Oh, yeah.
Our politicians are just, they've got their hands in the cookie jar.
They absolutely do. And I love the fact that Elon Musk is saying, you're next. Yep. Nancy, you're next. And do I think it's going to... I don't know what to think, to be honest. Is there a way to overcome that? Is there a way to root it out? Or is it just so cooked in the books, the tentacles are so deep, it's going to be hard to get it out? And just the position that they hold give them insight that no one else has. Now, if you say that, their immediate family can invest, that sounds great, okay? If it's Nancy, her and her husband can invest. But does that include her children that no longer live with her? She passes off that information. It's dirty, it's low down, but I don't know how you police it, to be honest.
I mean, Congress is a 2-year game. If you just flat out pass a law that says, for your time in Congress, you are not able to trade. Okay, fine. 2 years. Maybe that keeps people from becoming career politicians.
Let's just hope. We can hope for the best. Jim Banks being honest in a way that only the new right can be. Next on the Morning Xtra, Tug and Los until 10, 7 o'clock hour, brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for April 2nd. The Braves are 0-6 after losing to the Dodgers last night, 3-1 the final. The Braves close out the series tonight as Bryce Elder comes up to get the start. He'll be opposed by Blake Snell. First pitch is set for 8:38. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. Off the field, the Braves, they have another injury situation as all-star starting pitcher Ronaldo Lopez will have surgery on his shoulder. The procedure will determine just how much damage Lopez has in that shoulder. As for the Hawks, they play the second game of a back-to-back after losing last night at home to the Trailblazers. Tonight, the team is in Dallas to play the Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 8:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Man, the way the Braves play, not good. The pollen outside, not good. There's all kinds of... The Wisconsin race for the Supreme Court, not good. There's all kinds of things that happen, bad news. Let me tell you about some good news. Sitting in your home where you can actually breathe. Sitting in your home where you're not sneezing, where you're not coughing. Because your home is your sanctuary, and Central Heating and Air Conditioning, which I scheduled my appointment with them for this summer. They're coming out to do the maintenance to make sure that our AC will work just the way we need it to keep us cool all summer and keep our house, our sanctuary, with this whole pollen thing that's happening. Because it's allergy season, and they can fix it. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, Chuck and his team can fix what ails your house and possibly your family's health with home ventilation and air quality products from Carrier, the best in the business, working with the best in the business. Central has packages designed around house health and your family's health using variable speeds, fresh air ventilation, air purifiers, air cleaners, and dehumidifiers. Chuck and his team will take care of you just like they take care of me, and front office Lowe's too. Our show uses Central Heating and Air Conditioning. So many people have listened and taken advantage of a second-generation, locally owned HVAC company in Atlanta, one of the very few. They've been operating as a family-owned company for 77 years. That's why you should work with them. That and they share your values. I point that out a lot, too. That's important as well. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
What's the mystery behind Mystery Valley Golf Course? Is it the fact that it's been voted one of Atlanta's must-play courses? Or is it the fact that it's conveniently located from anywhere in Atlanta? Or maybe it's because Mystery Valley has recently renovated the course, adding all new tipped Bermuda putting greens, upgrading all 66 sand bunkers, and improving the clubhouse and amenities all around. No matter what it is, Mystery Valley Golf Club has been a staple of the Atlanta golf community for many years, and it reopened with the new renovations. Now is the perfect opportunity to make a tee time and enjoy a round of golf at Mystery Valley, located next to Stone Mountain in Lithonia, taking all of the beautiful natural scenery while enjoying a fantastic round of golf. Go to MysteryValleyGolfCourse.com to book tee times. But one question will always remain: how did Mystery Valley get its name?
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double-pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
Hey, homeowners, it's Flounder, and I'm here to keep you warm. Well, I won't, but my friends at Dobbs Heating and Air will. As a new homeowner myself, I prefer working with local, family-owned companies who value what matters to me and treats my home like it's their own. The Dobbs family have a passion for what they do, and taking care of people is their primary goal. So if your home needs help staying warm right now, call Dobbs Heating and Air and experience the Dobbs difference. And check them out online at dobbshvac.com.
Hi, this is Bruce Hagen.
And this is Matt Hagen.
Hey, look. Accidents happen, and that's when Hagen happens. And now, Hagen happens twice, because there's two of us.
We're here for you on what is probably your worst day, so that all the days ahead can be comfortable and taken care of properly.
We treat your personal injury case personally. You're not just a number to us. You're a human being, and we're going to treat you with the respect that you deserve.
Let us here at Hagen Law be your advocates. You can find everything you need to know at Hagen-Law.com.
Hagen-Law.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/score. Ethos.com/score.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
The president said it himself.
America is back.
And Xtra 106.3 continues on as the only conservative news and talk station in Atlanta. The news changes by the day, and you can count on Xtra 106.3 to bring it to you straight every day without the spin. Xtra 106.3 FM and the Xtra app.
If you're tired of the protesters, if you're tired of the nonsense they always say, their chants, their songs, all 12 people that show up in front of a Tesla dealership, they clock out at noon because that's when the pay stop. I don't know if you saw this. There was a website dedicated to getting people paid for going out to protest. And it was like, I have in front of me, it was like basically TeslaProtest.com or whatever it is. They took down the page where you go get paid. So people are upset all of a sudden because they went out and spent their day on the 29th protesting. Now they can't get their check.
It's still hilarious that when they went back and said, "All right, where's my reimbursement?" and the website went,
"Gone."
Just kidding, it's all gone.
That was just a ploy to get you out there. We needed your services.
Glad you spent your 3 hours standing outside of a Tesla dealership. You thought you were going to get paid. You didn't.
And you didn't. But if you're tired of that stuff, and I know you are, because I am too, Los is, Dre, we're all tired of it. I've never went out and protested anything. I'm not saying that I won't ever, but it will never involve screaming at people's faces and burning things down. It will not be violent. It'll be a protest the way it is laid out in the Constitution, if I ever get to that point. If. That's a big if.
If you ever decide I have to get into dem streets to go ahead and make a point. All right, things have gone haywire.
Roll up my sleeves, get in dem streets.
That's right.
Being a tough guy and all. But
I was like, I just prefer to vote.
That's
okay?
right. It's just,
Talk about it and vote.
That's exactly right, because that's the only thing you can control. Does it show momentum? Kinda. I guess it depends on whether you believe these people are paid to be out there or they genuinely believe what they're talking about. Like, I'll give, for example, March for Life. I've been invited to that a bunch of times. I've never gone. I know what I believe. I know that those I've never seen a soul paid for them. No need to, because people are very passionate about life beginning at conception. And you see it in downtown Atlanta at the Capitol. You see it at the National Mall up in D.C., and millions of people showed up. You're not paying millions of people. There's not enough money to do that. Point is, when a protester or someone who's trying to get the best of you shows up, people like Jim Banks, man, do they have it down to a science on how to handle them.
Man, this was really good, in part because the protester who showed up in the halls of Congress portrayed themselves as an employee, a former employee of the federal government, and then tried to make the point as to why they were illegally fired or when they needed their job back. And by the way, this is a sissy man. When you hear the voice, you'll recognize it. Just imagine sissy man, whatever you want to think about. I want you to take a listen to this as Jim Banks, as he's getting on the elevator, lets the guy know what he thinks of him as the doors close. Take a listen.
Hi, I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
That's
Wow. Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
And then the elevator closes.
It's so perfect.
I mean, I was like, you seem like a clown, door closed.
Oh, my God. It came out yesterday afternoon, and the first thing I did was send it over to Tug. It was such a magical moment of just telling people, this is what I mean by the new right, where you fight differently. And some people find it dirty. Some people might even be like, well, that seems classless. The guy just lost his job. First off, explain to me that he actually lost his job and he's not just a stand-in.
Right. Well, there's that part.
Because we already talked about that to start the segment.
Yeah.
They've got plenty of those people.
They got plenty of AstroTurf. And then on top of it, for the right, it's actually fighting back. Because in many cases, we've never fought back at all. Not even, as a statement, we would always placate those people. We would always be like, hey, we're going to do the best we can. We're going to work on it, da-da-da. And you try to reason with them. And those people are unreasonable.
Yep,
and so
every
finally,
time.
Jim Banks is like, I'm going to tell you like it is. You probably deserve to be fired if you even were an employee to begin with. You deserve to be fired because you probably didn't show up to work. That's what's happening. We got empty buildings and we're paying billions of dollars for you to sit on your tail at home while you're collecting a check from the federal government and also delivering to Uber Eats.
Well, my question ends up being this. If you have the time to stand in the halls of Congress, all right, what exactly did you do with that money? Did you were on the government? You were able to go ahead and make your money off of that. You did that job, maybe a second job, whatever it was. The minute you start talking about how this person has been in the hallway waiting for anyone on a work day, I will ask you this. What are they doing for a living now that allows them to do that?
Dude, I just wrote it down. You lost your job. If you're in the Capitol building, are you not looking for a new job?
Exactly.
Are you not working on that? Are you not perfecting your resume?
Like, I'm all over LinkedIn. Like, Tug loses the job, and he's like, okay, how many people do I know? How many people am I reaching out to? He's not going to the halls of Congress.
No, I'm not. That's exactly right. And this dude, this clown, as Jim Banks called him, and I agree, this dude had plenty of time on his hands because he either A, didn't really work for the federal government and is being paid to be there, or B, doesn't want to find a job because he's busy there not looking. I mean, it's one or the other. I can't think of anything else it might be.
It's all it is. I think you're exactly right. It's if you have the free time, the leeway to do this, I would really question if you ever were a federal employee. Instead, I believe you're a plant.
There's no doubt about it. And we'll probably find that out. Somebody on social media will be like, oh, here's the guy. I love when those show up. When
Yes.
it's like, here's the guy that actually did this. You know, he told you he was XYZ. Turns out he was actually ABC. You know, I love when the internet gets to work. And, man, we've got some super sleuths in the internet, man. They will find you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you've done, good, bad, or indifferent. They will find you. And they will expose you for whatever you are if it's bad, or give you praise if you've done something good. And I love it when it turns out like that. It's so much fun.
We're now on a roll right now where for every single crazy lefty out there that believes in, basically committing a act of vandalism on somebody's car, not knowing who they are or what they stand for. And it's amazing how by the time that those videos of who they are get posted online, within like 48, 72 hours, everyone's like, yeah, that's Linda. She lives down the street from me.
And she's crazy. She's crazy with a capital C.
It does not take long anymore.
No, it doesn't. And, with your digital exhaust, I think that's what they call it these days, the trail you leave behind, your digital trail, companies find you. They like I read about an app. This is off the subject, but I read about a new app called TEA, and it's for single women who are kind of in the dating game, and they use the digital exhaust to find out the person that they have a date with later in the evening. And you plug in their name, you plug in, and it searches socials, it finds pictures, it finds criminal records. I'm not even sure this is legal, but it finds out everything about you using your digital footprint. And I think that's why the internet does what it does when we're looking for people, good or bad, on social media. They're using that same strategy to help ladies, and again, I don't know if it's legal, but to help ladies make sure they're not going out with a serial killer.
Well, I mean, it is public information. And so if you're telling me it's coupled with a little bit of data, again, like as men. A
lot of data.
Men, if you find out, if you were to use this program and it says she has a history of defaulting on 2 loans and a mortgage, run.
Abort.
It's time to get out of there. Check her credit and then get out of there.
Run fast. Run away fast. It was targeted at women, but you're right. Dudes could use it too. Again, I'm not sure of the legality of it. I don't know. Maybe it is. When we continue on Extra 106.3, the Democrats got a win in Wisconsin, but the party is losing badly. Next on Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this idiotic leftist campaign to go after Elon Musk, whom they don't like, because he is damaging the Democrat god of government. So to show you how meaningful the leftist protests are, they've resorted to scratching Teslas, maybe catching them on fire or ramming them with golf carts. So meaningful. Oh, and they paint things on Teslas about Elon Musk is a Nazi. Now, first of all, just to clear the air, Elon's mother is Jewish, and Elon says that he is Jewish by association, but not particularly religious. Yeah, he's a Nazi. But I've told you before that it was back during World War II that left-wingers started to associate anybody with conservative thought processes as a Nazi. Why not tag them with the most hated label extant in the world at that time? Well, here's something that I uncovered. In 1943, the Communist Party headquarters in the United States issued a directive to Communist Party members. It was how to deal with people who are opposed to communism. The directive, again from the Communist Party, said when certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them as fascist, Nazi, or anti-Semitic. Use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. Constantly associate those who oppose us with these names which already carry a bad reputation. After enough repetition, the association will become fact in the public mind. Now maybe you understand why the left likes to call Donald Trump a fascist and a Nazi, and now Elon Musk. Great thinkers, these leftists. Neil Bortz, Extra 1063.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. Now that President Trump has unburdened us from what could have been, our country's finally headed in the right directions. But the Democrats are screaming and yelling and losing their minds. And unfortunately, the bad guys are still here and they want your stuff. Thank you, Joe Biden. And customers are still reporting break-ins and thefts of their hard-earned valuables. Don't wait till it's too late. Get a quality safe from the Safe House. We carry the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. And remember, gun safes are sales tax-free at Atlanta Safe House. So give us a call or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
A win in Wisconsin for Democrats. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It keeps the state Supreme Court liberal-leaning.
This campaign has been an incredible, life-altering experience.
Susan Crawford won the most expensive state Supreme Court race in U.S. history. About $100 million were spent, a lot of it by Elon Musk, backing conservative Brad Schimmel.
I can't thank you enough for everything you did to try to make this a success, but it just didn't work.
Two Republicans won special elections in Florida.
You have entrusted me with something extraordinary, the opportunity to go and fight for you.
Randy Fine and Jimmy Petronas won open seats in Congress in heavily Republican districts, despite being far outspent by Democrats in the campaign. It gives Republicans a slightly bigger House majority, 220 seats. President Trump is readying new tariffs today on more imports, targeting countries that charge for American exports. He calls it Liberation Day.
There's still a lot, though, that's still unknown, including what the president's announcement entails, the full details, also what countries might be able to work out deals to avoid this crackdown.
That's Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. They pulled another survivor from earthquake rubble in Burma, buried alive over 100 hours. But the number of deaths, nearly 3,000. Israel is at Gaza with airstrikes. The Palestinians say killed 30 people. The Israelis say they targeted a Hamas terror command center.
The militant group still holds 59 captives, of whom 24 are believed to be still alive. An estimated 140,000 people have been told to evacuate this week alone as the Israeli armed forces ramp up their offensive.
Fox's Jonathan Savage, a star of movies in the 80s and 90s, has died. Val Kilmer.
You figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot?
Kilmer's best known for his role as Iceman in Top Gun, playing him again in the sequel a few years ago.
The Navy needs Maverick.
It was Kilmer's last role. His voice weakened after throat cancer. Val Kilmer died of pneumonia at age 65. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
As you might imagine, down the hall at our sister station, the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM, they are
It's on fire.
buddy.
It's on fire.
It is. They're not winning. They're not in the Donald Trump frame of mind where you'll get tired of winning. You're winning so much. And that's where we are kind of here on Extra. Is that we feel good about the direction of the country. We feel good about winning. We want to continue winning. I'm challenging Donald Trump to make me tired of winning because I don't believe he can do it.
No, keep me winning on a daily basis. That's what's been going on.
That's right.
We're 6 weeks in, and we're like, man, I keep winning all the time.
Dude, all I do is win. That's exactly right. Down the hall, on the other hand, things are not as well. I'm telling you, it was like, at least we got Sean Murphy. He's coming back. He's got to be a ball player, though. He's got to get in there and mix it up, and he's got to get in there and hit home runs. He's got to do it right. He's got to pick this team up, put them on the shoulders. I'm like, man, I don't know if Sean's got all that. I mean, he's a good ball player. I just don't know if he can. I don't know if he can ails what or fix what ails the Braves. Have you seen those batting averages? Good heavens!
Oh my God, everything right now is in the 100s. In fact, last night I was able to hang in for I think I went to bed right in like the fourth inning, and it was still a ball game. The Braves were hanging around. But the most amount of offense was coming out of Marcell Ozuna, who had 2 walks. Like a walk was exciting for them to have that happen.
Look, we got somebody on base. It's amazing. It's a great day, and they still go on to lose 3-1. So yeah, that is it's not good, man. It's bad. It's real bad. And then you have the injury to Lopez. The insults to injury keep adding up. I mean, they're lined up like jets at Hartsfield down at the airport, just one right after another.
Oh, and it's as much as we got the Profar suspension to then have your number 2 starter who is having some shoulder issues in camp. Now he's going to have a procedure, arthroscopic, to take a look at what's going on in that shoulder. That's not a 1 to 2 week thing. In fact, that might be the end of the season for Ronaldo Lopez. So, it's a tough start. Do I think they'll even things out? Yeah, eventually. Once you start playing, Miamis of the world and everybody else. But this is a illustration of what happens when you play some of the top teams that have nearly unlimited budgets.
Yeah, like the Dodgers, which they'll play tonight. 8:38. Look, it's an early start. How about that? 8:38.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, look, those 10 o'clock starts will kill you.
Brutal.
Here's the question I have, though, Los. And you're you still do, you got afternoon, you're going to do afternoons on the sports station this afternoon over on 680.
That's right.
Los is a guy that is flexible and can talk about pretty much anything. What happens when the Braves struggle against the Marlins at home? You want to talk about a fire sale, people that are going to melt down where they stand. And I don't just mean the host down the hall at our sister station and home of the Braves, 680 The Fan. And we love the Braves. We don't want to see this happen. I'm a Braves fan my whole life. Born and raised Braves fan. Died in the wool Braves fan. Love them. When they're great and when they're awful, I'm still a fan. I'll always be a fan. But not just 680 will melt down if they have a bad series at home when they finally get here on Friday. Fans are going to lose their minds. It's going to be ugly.
I just want to remind everybody, in 2021, the Braves were a team that was hovering right around 500, a game or 2 over, and they didn't have a professional Major League outfield. And they brought in the Jacques Petersons of the world, the Eddie Rosario. They made all the moves for Soler. And they put together a team where you end up having a couple of the guys win, whether it's the MVP of this series or MVP of the World Series. This thing can get by as long as it's playing decent baseball and it's a right around 500. I believe they're going to win. The Vegas number was 92.5. Vegas expects them to win 90 ball games, and I believe that's what's going to happen. But it's going to have to be done a little bit differently based on the injuries that you're dealing with and what's going to happen moving forward when you don't have your primary left fielder that you just gave what's going to be the remainder of $36 million over the next 2 years when he gets back.
My son, who is playing college baseball, knows the game inside and out. But he's the worst fan you've ever had in your whole life. He's an awful fan. Like, he just texts me. The only thing I get in the morning is, we suck. You know? That's it.
Well, they're not in a good way. They're not in a good place right now.
I know. But he knows it's a long season. He knows what you're saying is true. He just has enough of me in there. Expect the worst, hope for the best. And my daddy was the worst Braves, he loved the Braves more than he loved anything. But he was the worst Braves fan in the history of the world. He would always call them, when they did poorly, it was always, oh, yeah, them amazing Braves. Boy, I love watching those amazing Braves. They suck again.
He went through the tough portion of it before 95.
Yes,
you know, by 95, he'd already left to go get cigarettes.
That's right.
He's
back.
playing. Yeah, he never came back. He's playing the horses every single day, doing what he wants to. That's when he was like, that's how he spent the heyday.
That's exactly right. So this is how rough it is. The New York Times is writing about the Braves' struggles. Just 5 games into the 2025 season, the Braves are already playing from behind. The New York Times. That's when you know things have gotten sideways. It will get better. It will get better. Listen to Front Office Los. He is not lying to you.
They're going to be fine. Yeah. It's just going to take some time.
And
they're going to lose tonight.
And they're going to lose tonight. They're going to come home, and they will be 0-7 on the brand new season.
It'll be Bryce Elder who's going to get lit up tonight.
Any word on the injury that Freddie had coming out of the shower over there? Is he going to be all right for that?
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to miss another day of this series based off of stepping out of the shower funny.
Because he's a gamer. I mean, he showed that in the playoffs when he was playing on a broken ankle.
Yeah.
But you're early in the season.
And you get hurt in the shower. It didn't seem real.
I wonder if somebody was trying to pop him.
Yeah, right. And he's scooting around. He's scooting across, trying to get away from the towel pop. Maybe so. Who knows?
That was one of those when I was growing up playing high school sports where, obviously you had to, it was regular for us to, basically go through a workout. Everybody go hits the showers and do what you're going to do. Yeah. That was one of the areas where I just thought to myself, when you're losing and you have to be naked, okay, these are problematic situations. By the way, you were also going, please never get hurt while naked in the locker room. Freddie Freeman managed to get hurt while being naked.
That's a tough spot.
Yes. Because you have to explain it to everyone.
That's right.
Some people know.
How did you get hurt again? You were naked in the shower and you did what? Yeah. Explain that one. And there's a difference, though. If you know and love Louis Grizzard, and if you grew up in Georgia, you know and love Louis Grizzard. And he said there's a difference in naked and naked. Naked,
True.
Naked means you ain't got no clothes on. Naked means you ain't got no clothes on, and you're up to something.
Up to no good. Listen, there's been times in my life where I was like, okay, do I want to be naked or naked? I'm like, I'd like to be naked here. Let's make this thing happen.
N-E-double-K by God ID.
That's
naked. Right. I love Louis Grizzard. God, he's one of my favorites of all times. And God rest his soul. We try to bring him up here as much as we can. It's like we try to bring up Rush Limbaugh, the people that made us who we are, that gave us the belief systems that we have, and sometimes the comedy and the humor that we share. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Call Chuck and his team. One of the few second-generation, locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. So the Braves numbers are pretty rough, Los. We've established that. Will it get better? Yes. The Democrat numbers, on the other hand, are even worse. Like, they make the Braves look like, hey, nothing's wrong here. We got time.
Well, it's murderer's row at that point.
That's exactly right. Dude.
The Dems versus the Braves offense right now. The Braves look like murderer's row in comparison to how many hits the Dems are putting together.
No doubt. We know that their numbers, as far as approval, are down in the 20s. And then you start talking about those congressional numbers, and they're even worse.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
Dude, it's just so animated. I mean, it's like he was calling a baseball game there. Horrible, horrible. You know what I mean?
Holy Toledo.
Granted, he does sound like a former sports broadcaster.
Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he's a numbers guy. Maybe so. Maybe that's what you'll do next. You know, Los is go to.
I'm gonna go get on a screen. I'm gonna be the next guy breaking down statistics for Fox or for somebody else and say, hey, things aren't going well, everybody, just so you know.
Or Newsmax. Have y'all seen how they've blown up?
Yeah, they've been growing pretty quickly.
Their value is double what the New York Times is.
But they have a Newsmax 2 now, I saw the other day.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something else.
Oh, yeah. They added basically like a satellite group that covers individual areas of the country, and it's pretty extensive. Yeah.
How about that? But worth double what the New York Times is. Think about it. Just let that settle in for the paper of record. The what some would say, not me, but some would say the most important newspaper in the country or in the world, and Newsmax worth double because of what a rag it is. But back to the point, 27% of Americans approve of the Democrat Party as a whole, and 21% approve of them in Congress because they stand up there and filibuster for 25 hours, and nobody can tell you why they did it. How about what? Cory Booker, we don't know what you're doing up there.
I still, as I'm watching Cory Booker do his thing, I'm like, what are you protesting exactly to be up there for? Like, and yesterday was like hour 14. They're like, he has held the stage for this long. Why?
Yeah, nobody knows.
Where was the stance there?
Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea why he was up there, and I'm not sure he knows. He just felt like he needed to do something. And when you're in that position, you're like, I have no idea what I need to do, but I need to do something. That's not a good spot to be. It'd be like in your office that you know you need to be busy, but you just don't know where to go to get busy. And you're afraid to ask because then you're going to look like the a-hole that's just on the payroll not doing anything.
It's truly just a lack of direction. It really is what it comes down to. There's going to be some discipline winning that comes from the Democrat Party, but by and large, because they're a group of people where it's unhinged, they don't have a leader to tell them, cut that crap out. They're able to do whatever they feel like. And oftentimes, especially when it comes to ads, it comes across as, you're not even speaking to me. You're speaking to somebody completely different, and I have no interest in voting for you.
That's right. And then let's take what you got, Dre, real quick.
Well, I was just going to point out the other number that was in that clip. Half of the Democratic Party doesn't even approve of that. Yeah, we know that most everybody doesn't like this. 20% approval. Okay, great. But half of their own people don't like what they're up to.
Well, I think that's because, Losen, you can tell me what you think. I think that's because they want to see the Democrats fight against Trump, right? Because they hate him. They not that they want America to do well. They just want Trump to do bad. And if that damages America, they're just fine with it. And Trump continues to win again and again and again, and they're pissed about it. So that's why I think those numbers are so low. Do you think? Are you there?
No. I'm right there with you. I think a lot of this comes down to when you start seeing it's a momentum play for me, Tug. I keep thinking to myself that if you're able to create some sort of issue, and we saw it when it was Signalgate, and when you started calling it Signalgate, I was like, okay, this is what they're going to. Right. They are attempting to find any little thing to try and create a little bit of momentum so that they can claim any sort of victory or say, here's how we're fighting. And part of what's going on when you talk about these low ratings, that when you're down in the 20s, it's because even the dyed-in-the-wool Democrat is basically looking at Democrats in Congress and saying, you guys aren't fighting the way I want you to fight. Right. Yeah. So now it just turns into create any fight. Create a fight wherever you possibly can.
Resist, whatever it is. Even if you have to resist against the things that you know are actually good, you still resist against them. Biden laptop was real. We all know that. But what we didn't know until recently, and Catherine Herridge shared some of this as she's been working on this, I guess, investigation. And she has uncovered through a Freedom of Information Act and some of the hearings that have happened on Capitol Hill that there was an actual gag order from the FBI to silence any discussion about the Hunter Biden laptop. They knew from day one that it was not fake. It was real. They knew it the entire time, and yet, because in the effort to influence an election, they put the gag order out. You do not speak about this, including the person that uncovered it.
Yeah, this was incredible when you went through it. I mean, I don't want to say it was surprising. It was just we got to see the evidence. You know, that's what happened yesterday. We knew, and we've talked about the Biden laptop and how we knew it was real, and the 51 intelligence officials that signed off on it. The interesting part about what we found out yesterday, just as you're alluding to of a special task force, the FBI created a special task force to deal with counter foreign election interference. And what that group ended up becoming was let's cover for Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. It started out as, hey, look for any kind of election interference, and if we see it, let's go ahead and head it off and make sure that we get it out to the public and make sure that everyone knows that this information is not real. That group then eventually turned into cover for the Bidens. We have to get Trump out of office.
Yeah, and it continued. And we talk about it all the time. The FBI, has it ever been a good thing? Unsure. Probably not. Does it? Right now, you have Kash Patel in there, and that makes me feel better about it, that someone I do feel like has the best interest of the country leading it, but I don't know that he can even get his arms around the tentacles that exist inside the federal government and the bureaucracy that will continue to do things just like this, even as Donald Trump is in office. They will try to undermine him there, too, just like they did before he was in office.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, going through this information that became public, it's one thing if you're just trying to call balls and strikes, and I think that's like the hope that we all have, that our institutions call balls and strikes, and politics does not play in any kind of effect in that game. But what we now know, what's been like, it hits us over the head time and time again, it's that our institutions are largely corrupt, and they're corrupted against us. You know, they look at people that are, you know, when it comes to nationalism, when it comes to the people that believe in freedom and actually free elections and, you know, basically being able to have self-determination, they look at us as the enemy, and they turn these institutions against us.
It's a very Democrat Party way of thinking. In the FBI, they know better, just like the Democrats will tell you. They know better. It doesn't matter what you voted for. They know better.
Well, they got it done.
That's not,
you know.
Yeah. Then let's see if they can continue it, or you know, are able to buck the system. Because I hope if Kash Patel sees that he comes down with an iron fist, because he has to. They can't continue that way. They can't allow it. And if they do, then it needs to be scattered into the wind, and probably does anyway, as we've discussed a million times. This is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When we continue, how to be a victim and gain status while doing it. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Tug and Los until 10.
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
The New York Times just did a hit piece of complaining that conservatives are using Twitter to gain access to Elon Musk and his Doge team. Good. To which journalist Glenn Greenwald replied, "Gross. The ordinary people and the unlicensed peasants are able to speak with and even influence elites in D.C. who are running the government? The New York Times is horrified."
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
True Prep, Atlanta's leading preparedness store, has two incredible deals going. The Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport 3 AR-15 for just $649, featuring a mid-length gas system, 15-inch M-Lock free-floating handguard, and a 30-round PMAG. Plus, get 1,000 rounds of check-made, brass-cased, box prime 223 ammo for only $399.99, or 20-round boxes for just $899 each. For directions, visit online at trueprep.com. That's TRU prep.com. True Prep. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow.
Hey, this is Tom from The Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed. Honesty is the best policy, and we guarantee it. Finally, a pre-owned car and truck buying process that you can trust.
Get an honest car buy from The Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation supports America's greatest heroes, U.S. service members and first responders who die or catastrophically injured in the line of duty. Plus, the foundation helps homeless veterans. The heroes that Tunnel to Towers supports are heroes that we owe a debt of gratitude to. The foundation's Gold Star, Fallen First Responder, Smart Home, Homeless Veterans programs, all of these honor the sacrifices made for us by the men and women who risk their lives and bodies in our country and our community service. The Foundation's Never Forget program engaged people in 9/11 remembrances across America with over 80 runs, walks, climbs, and dozens of golf outings every year. The Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute helps educate children in kindergarten through 12th grade about America's darkest day while helping our nation keep its vow to never forget. Help support Tunnel to Towers and its programs and never forget 9/11 or the sacrifice of our country's greatest heroes. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Wednesday, April 2nd. More layoffs occurred yesterday at the Center for Disease Control. 2,400 employees are expected to lose their positions as part of DOGE cuts. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy says the restructuring is needed to make the department more effective. DeKalb County Police arrested 11 people and impounded 10 cars this past weekend as part of a statewide crackdown on illegal street racing and street takeovers. Officers also issued 40 traffic citations and seized several firearms during the operation. The Georgia General Assembly nears the end of its legislative session. Among the bills, a bill banning transgender students in girls' sports, a school safety bill focused on firearms safety, banning speed cameras in school zones, and a major tort reform package championed by Governor Kemp. Today's weather, cloudy starting out in the high 50s. This afternoon, we'll see temperatures rising to the low 80s. Tomorrow, we could see record high temperatures of 85 degrees. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. I'm going to go out to Dave in Alpharetta at 404-741-1230. Dave, in my neck of the woods, man. What's up?
Well, listen, I was just listening to the statistics you were reviewing regarding the Democrat Party.
Sir.
And I think there's a different twist to it. I think what it really is indicative of is the divide within the party itself. The far left extremists are getting all the press, but I don't believe that half of the all of the Democrats are as far left as the voices are. So I think what it really is the moderate Democrats being disappointed with the far left Democrats that are just resisting at all costs and not really coming up with more centrist ideas that would benefit them, their families, and the country.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a pretty fair assessment that Dave brings up. Yeah, that party's in turmoil, man. They are at each other's throats. And I don't know. The only thing is, I think the party is intentionally moving to the hard left. I think that's where they want to reside. I think that's been a push over the last decade, if not longer, to get here. We're just now arriving where they want to be to begin with. That I do believe that about the Democrat Party, Los.
Well, first off, Dave, thank you for the call. And yeah, it's an excellent point. And I think it really echoes into what we've been talking about, that the momentum and the energy on the left is with the far end of the party. That for some reason, what is gaining traction within the party is the nuts, the people that are out there and a little bit crazy. And so when you just have a regular, when it comes to a traditional liberal, somebody who believes in the Bill of Rights, who believes in the Constitution, who believes in free speech, yes, they're being railroaded. And they're being actually pointed out as, you're not extreme enough to lead this thing. And so that's where I think that there's that issue going on, that if you just happen to be a traditional liberal, you're being buried by the crazy end of your party.
Which is why you're going to have a problem with Gavin Newsom, as we've discussed, trying to paint himself as a centrist and not having the support of the majority of the party, because they are going that hard direction. And not that Gavin Newsom is a centrist, because he's not. He is an extreme leftist. He's trying to paint over the things that he's done in the past. He's trying to brush over them and hopefully convince someone that he is a normal guy. He is a guy that believes in the rule of law. He's the guy that believes in the Constitution, when his actions would prove otherwise. And I'm not sure that he's going to be very successful in his quest to rise up in the Democrat Party. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe you'll be wrong, because I know you feel the same way.
No, I believe that if you're trying to pass yourself off as a centrist, you'll never get through the primary process. And so you're asking for a very difficult scenario when it comes to a national election. You have to run far left in order to gain the energy of the party. Then you have to immediately turn to the center. And I think that if you want to see how that plays out, look at Kamala Harris. Part of the reason why she lost in the way that she did in all 7 swing states and got buried in the way that she did, not only because she was a bad candidate, but look what she said in the past, where she talked about, obviously supporting surgeries for inmates that wanted to be transsexual. Okay. That, using your tax dollars to do that, was a huge reason. That was one of those commercials that buried her. As much as everyone wants to downplay it, that commercial buried her, for she's for they, them.
And Donald Trump is for us. That's why he won the way he did. Yeah, that was the sleeper issue of the entire election, was the transgender issue. Of course, the border and the economy were huge deals. But that transgender issue, men and women's sports.
Those were for the flyover states. Absolutely. That was a huge deal.
That was the sleeper issue. Now, in the Democrat Party, typically, though, being a victim will rise you up in popularity, and they will capitalize on your victimhood. And there is room to be to gain status in that party, being a victim, Los.
So this is an example of what is wrong with the Democrat Party and what is wrong with the mentality. So there's a woman named Melanie DiRaggio. Now, Melanie, she ended up having a tweet yesterday that really just didn't go anywhere, and it got buried really hard. In fact, what she tried to say was, here was her post on X. Elon bought Twitter for $44 billion and sold it to his own company for $33 billion. He can write off that $11 billion loss on his taxes. Teachers can only write off $300 worth of school supplies on their taxes. This is what a tax code written to benefit oligarchs looks like. Now, for any of you who have any experience in doing taxes, you know this is not true. And, of course, then you had Community Notes that buried this woman.
Yeah, that was the best.
Everybody basically bodied this woman. I mean, I pointed out in the afternoon, I was like, oh, so all I got to do is buy my own situation and mark it down? and I get to take the benefit from my taxes. Hell, I do this every year. If I wanted to, I would set up shell companies and buy my own rental property every single year at a loss and just continue to write it off. Yeah, and write it off. And I would just say, look at how I keep making money. This is genius. That's how you know it's not possible. But this then led me to look into this woman. And she's a Democrat. You know, it's who she is. She has run for public office out of New York. And I want to read you this, Tug. And this is what is so weird about the Democrat Party. Tug, if I was to ask you, if you were doing a bio of yourself, and I'm not telling you got to toot your own horn, but you should. I mean, what would you say about yourself if you just wanted to say, hey, listen, I'm running for office and I want your support?
Gosh, I believe that your freedom is imperative to me. Are you talking about like from a political standpoint?
Yeah,
or just...
no. Well, just if I was to say, give me a bio so that everybody, for whether it's from the church or the elementary school, knows who Tug is.
I believe in freedom first. I believe in the sanctity of life. I believe it's important that we have traditional values because that is the foundation of America. Married life is what will continue the life that we live here in this country. It will make us more stable with fathers in homes, mothers in homes, raising children. It's the best way to be successful. Get a high school education, at least, get married, and be successful in America. That'd be my platform.
Okay, so that is how Tug is going to put himself out there. Let me tell you about Melanie, all right? Because I had to go find her bio, and I started recognizing that here's the wild part about this party. It is about how big of a victim you can make yourself, okay? Mm-hmm. This is part of her bio. Melanie was born in an impoverished family on the South Shore of Long Island and raised by her grandmother in Lindenhurst. Melanie earned her Master's of Science degree from a school of health professionals at Long Island University. As a mother of three, Melanie knows what it's like to battle the American healthcare system and the workplace as a new mom. While pregnant, Melanie was passed over for a job after the employer saw that she was expecting. It's one after another after another. Everything in her bio is about how she was wronged.
Yeah, how I struggle.
Everything in here is about how she was wronged. And so she's going to now claim as many scalps for you. That's the wild part about this whole victimhood. Their entire thing is you're a victim, I'm a victim, support me so that we can go get the people that have victimized us.
Made us victims. Like the whole getting passed over for a job. How many people get passed over jobs every day?
All the time.
All the stinking time. Has nothing to do with if you're pregnant or not. I'm not saying it never happens, but by and large, I don't believe people are like, well, you know what? We can't hire her. She's going to have a baby. No, I think most companies want stable families as employees because those employees have a reason to come up to work, show up, and work hard. They've got a family to feed. I actually think that's probably a benefit to you. But no, if you're a victim in the Democrat Party, you're going to rise, man. They love victimhood. Just like the Maryland, the innocent, quote-unquote, innocent Maryland dad, he's the victim here. No, leave out the part that he was part of MS-13 and a judge said that in the ruling about him. But he's a victim, and we got to bring him back and release him in the United States to victimize everybody else.
All right. Have you ever taken your son to a political protest? Did you ever?
No.
Okay. Neither have I. I've never brought my daughters and said, here, wear this. Let's go to a political protest. This is part of Melanie DiRaggio's information. After bringing her two daughters to the Brett Kavanaugh protest in 2018, Melanie was moved to run for Congress. Okay. First off, I'm not taking my kids to any sort of political rally.
No.
And I'm not bringing them to a protest either. Yet, their entire point is the reason why she deserves your support is because she's so nutty, she's willing to take her kids to a political protest. Maybe you've done it, maybe you haven't. I'm not judging you either way. I'm just saying for me, it's not there. Yet, when I asked Tug Cowart, here, give me the elevator speech on who you are, at no point did Tug make himself out to be a victim. At no point did Tug go ahead and point out some sort of crazy ideology where he was like, and me and my kid went ahead and decided to point out to everybody that George Floyd was on fentanyl.
Right. But those are the same type people, though, Los, that if they were to have, and I'm not just trying to derail this, but if they were to have a kid that said, is a little boy, and he's like, I'm a little girl, they would act on it. They wouldn't let the kid run its course, saying what it needed. You know what kids say. Sometimes kids say things just to get your attention, and if they say something like that, then you don't act on it. You let the little temper tantrum or whatever it is run its course. But those people like that wouldn't. They would have their kids at some sort of doctor's office the next week trying to get the handbag that they so desire so they can also have a new victim status. That's the type of people.
When her son Ryan was born and her husband was laid off, Melanie was put on a payment plan, owing the hospital thousands of dollars for having a baby. Again, this is a whole bullet point of how many times was she victimized?
Every day of every month of every year,
That's
life
how you
has
win.
been a
You
victim.
how big of a victim can you make yourself?
In the Democrat Party, that is going to carry you right to the top because there is going to be people there that are going to placate you. They're going to talk about, yes, you're right, you have been a victim. Now vote for us. That way we can fix all of these ills that have victimized you your entire life. And if you can find somebody with that mentality, you can get them to do about anything you want. Just promise them a check and promise them that you're going to fix all their problems so they don't have to.
That's basically how it's going to go. I've been a victim too. Vote for me, and I will solve your victimhood status.
Right. We're gonna be no longer victims together. Gosh, the Democrat Party is lost. What a place to be. And I never thought in my lifetime I'd see it, Los, where they are so lost. They're in the woods wandering around. Everybody's pointing at everybody else. They have no direction. They have no leadership, and they have no issues. They don't own the culture. They don't have anybody in the culture that supports them. They are as listless as I've ever seen them.
Well, they still have the problem of how do they attract men to this culture of pussycat ladies? Right. All right, like cat ladies. Mm-hmm. Like how do they get men to fall in line? Now, the incels will do it. The incels are like, hey, I never know what a touch of a woman feels like. I'm a female. I'm a male feminist. That's who I am.
Whatever that means.
All right. The incels are always going to be who they are. They can't attract women anyway, and it's always going to be us that does it. But all it's basically left to do is try and create a victimhood status, and most dudes do not want to be victims.
Because that is a sign of weakness.
Exactly.
And dudes don't want to be weak. Their lot in life is to be the strong provider. They're from the beginning of time, they've been the strong provider. That ain't going to change no matter how much you tell them they're the victim. Now, will some people succumb to that? Yes, but by and large, that is not going to happen. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Pam Bondi does not hold back on Luigi Mangione, the murderer. Next on the Morning Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for April 2nd. The Braves are 0-6 after losing to the Dodgers last night, 3-1 the final. The Braves close out the series tonight as Bryce Elder comes up to get the start. He'll be opposed by Blake Snell. First pitch is set for 8:38. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. Off the field, the Braves, well, they have another injury situation as all-star starting pitcher Ronaldo Lopez will have surgery on his shoulder. The procedure will determine just how much damage Lopez has in that shoulder. As for the Hawks, they play the second game of a back-to-back after losing last night at home to the Trailblazers. Tonight, the team is in Dallas to play the Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 8:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Denson Pepper CPA.
Hi, I'm Denson, your certified public accountant. I specialize in helping people catch up on their unfiled income tax returns.
Why would folks reach out to you, Denson?
Well, Tara, dealing with the IRS can be tricky. Did you know that you must first file your returns before establishing a repayment plan? If you don't file, the IRS can file for you, often showing a higher liability than what you actually owe.
That's crazy. What can our readers do?
Consider me your inside connection, available day or night at DensonPepperCPA.com. If your readers run afoul of the IRS, I'm here to help.
Amazing to have a resource like you, Denson, when dealing with the IRS. Thanks for choosing Our Town Monthly to promote your business. And remember, Our Town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
What's the mystery behind Mystery Valley Golf Course? Is it the fact that it's been voted one of Atlanta's must-play courses? Or is it the fact that it's conveniently located from anywhere in Atlanta? Or maybe it's because Mystery Valley has recently renovated the course, adding all new tipped Bermuda putting greens, upgrading all 66 sand bunkers, and improving the clubhouse and amenities all around. No matter what it is, Mystery Valley Golf Club has been a staple of the Atlanta golf community for many years, and it reopened with the new renovations. Now is the perfect opportunity to make a tee time and enjoy a round of golf at Mystery Valley, located next to Stone Mountain in Lithonia, taking all of the beautiful natural scenery while enjoying a fantastic round of golf. Go to MysteryValleyGolfCourse.com to book tee times. But one question will always remain: how did Mystery Valley get its name?
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
So, the doc says I have ED. ED. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's just an abbreviation for a condition so many men have. If I was to be honest, I probably also have a little OCD. I know I have a great HMO. Heck, I even have 3 weeks of PTO. Look, don't let a few letters get you down. If you have ED, there's HELP. Go see Dr. Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He's an ED specialist that will turn your life around PDQ. ED happens to a lot of men as we age. And just FYI, Dr. Deal can give you back the confidence you need to perform on the JOB. So, ready to take the first step? Quit yelling WTF at your little BFF and visit tbtofga.com. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They can fix your ED ASAP. And before you know it, you'll be screaming OMG.
I'm getting in the game. The world won't be the same. I'm good to go.
Call 404-777-1911 or visit tbtofga.com.
Atlanta Braves fans, May is Military Appreciation Month and a great time to show your patriotism by purchasing a VIP table at the Warrior Alliance 4th Annual Veteran Impact Awards and Gala. The event will be held on Thursday, May 22nd at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater at the Battery Atlanta and features dining, live entertainment, and Georgia-based veterans being honored for the significant contributions they are making in our communities. Purchase your VIP table today or make a donation at thewarrioralliance.org.
What's your Trump victory moment? Call in and tell us at 404-741-1230 on the Morning Extra.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3, and there's so many moments to choose from. I mean, just this week, there's a lot of moments to choose from. Trump victory moments. Love to hear yours. So don't hesitate to give us a call. All right. Pam Bondi is doing what I think the American people would want her to do. And that is going after a cold-blooded killer, a man that shot someone in the back in broad daylight, and it is Luigi Mangione, and he killed the CEO of United Healthcare. I do believe the American people think justice will be served by her going after the death penalty. The only thing, and I don't think it matters necessarily, but because he's already a folk hero, but this will solidify him as a folk hero.
It's interesting, Tug, that you look at this. And again, we didn't talk about this in pre-show. We didn't
Well, you're at home. We couldn't even. You're because you're working later this afternoon. We're trying to keep you from having to drive into the office twice in a day.
I got to do Chuck and Chernoff later. I got to carry those groceries. This is something where this was immediately my thought when the announcement was made that Pam Bondi was going to seek the death penalty for the killing of the United Healthcare CEO. You already have, as you said, a folk hero. This is somebody that the left is rallying around as a way of giving the middle finger to the establishment. And the only way, when you're talking about color revolutions, which is what is going on right now, this is all they have. This is what 2020 was all about. This is what's going on in 2025. They're trying to create color revolutions. What has to happen is the state has to come down on someone in a way that the American society sees as being too much. It's one thing if you put them in prison for life. Everyone's like, okay, you're in prison for life. But if you choose to take someone's life, the goal of the color revolution is to have regular society say, oh, that's too far. That's too much. That's what they're trying to create with this. And I do fear that maybe we might be stepping into this trap.
Absolutely right. And you're right. We didn't discuss this whatsoever and both came to the same conclusion because I know what they're looking for. They're looking for another George Floyd. They're looking for something to rally the crazies around. And this guy might just be the ticket to doing that. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it because I do believe he does.
Oh, he does.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he absolutely deserves it. But do you actually cut your own throat by doing this? Do you give them what they're looking for? And I don't know that Pam Bondi's thought about this. Maybe they don't think about it. Maybe we're looking at it from a different direction than they are. They're just looking at it from a law and order, and that's it. But someone in that administration has to go, hey, have y'all thought about this? Or I hope somebody has or will.
Well, and keep in mind, in a court of law, this is a suggestion of what they are looking for. This is, we're going to seek this death penalty. It doesn't mean that by the time we get to sentencing, because it's pretty clear from his writing and what he ended up posting, the dude did it, okay? Like, he flat out is like, I did it. I'm trying to save you all the time. Yeah, no confusion. I'm the one who shot and killed this person. This is what I did. It really comes down to the judge's discretion as to what they're going to get. And to me, part of what happened with the color revolution of 2020 is that you had Derek Chauvin, who was, stepping on the neck. By the way, a regular tactic by Minneapolis police standards. It was not outside of what they had been taught. It is part of what they had in their police guide. It was how to restrain a particular person, and yet they had to burn him down in part of the color revolution, and they had the body they needed when it was Derek Chauvin. That's what they're trying to do again with Luigi Mangione, is they need a body so that they can show you just how forceful the state is.
That's right. And I'm afraid they're going to get it. Hopefully they'll weigh out the options. Hopefully they're deliberating on this a little more than I think they are. But I'll admit I'm relatively nervous about it.
I was just very surprised that they played into, and again, like you're probably supposed to. This is what is supposed to happen to somebody
because he's the law and order candidate.
Yes, this is the law and order candidate, and death penalty is not off the books. But this is not a normal case in terms of this person now has this sick celebrity status. It's better to let them rot on the vine, hell, put them in solitary for a whole long time. I mean, like I said, at least they did the crime. At least treat them poorly. This isn't like January 6 people where, hey, I happened to wander into a place I shouldn't have been. Oh, I end up in solitary confinement until you break me. It's a little bit different than that.
A lot of bit different than that. This man is a cold-blooded murderer. January 6th didn't have that. The only person that died was an Air Force veteran. That's it. Where they're officers that died afterwards, of heart attacks, and they try to link that back to January 6th. There's no murder going on except for Ashley Babbitt in January 6th, and that was the state doing it. So yeah, the Mangione and January 6th, not even close. You can't even compare the two, and we're not trying to. But I just hope they think this one through, and I'm with Los on this, 404-741-1230. What do you think should happen to Luigi Mangione? Because he is He's the worst of the worst, and you have to balance that law and order candidate with giving them exactly what they want, which is a martyr, if you will, and we don't want to present that to them.
And by the way, this wasn't just murder, because murder does happen every American city on a regular basis. It's unfortunate, but it's what it is. This was a targeted assassination.
That's right. That's a better way of putting it, right?
Which is what makes it so different in the eyes of the law, and why a law and order president is saying this is not going to be tolerated. But yet, it almost feels like you're creating this martyr. And if you were just to search Luigi Mangione on X, the amount of posts you're going to get from the far left that are so out there in terms of looking at him as a hero, all you're doing is putting a little bit of gasoline on that fire.
Yeah. I wish I wish the Braves would catch fire a little bit. We started this hour talking about the Braves, and
what a turn of events.
I wish they would catch a little fire. I wish they would turn things around, and I don't fear they are. I just saw where maybe we need to draft more Georgia players at Man,
that team is, you speak about, on fire.
Dude, 20 home runs in the midweek game against Queens College. I think that's the college up in Charlotte. 20 home runs.
They can hold some of those torpedo bats?
I don't know what they did, but they're hitting the baseball. Georgia Tech is not far behind them. Georgia Tech playing good baseball, too. And the Braves, however, not. Maybe we can get these guys to start drafting. I know, but that's the only rumor that the Falcons
Georgia baseball is 29-2 on the season.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. We don't know as many kids playing on the Georgia team as we do Georgia Tech. It was flip-flopped. Last year we knew more kids playing at Georgia than we did Georgia Tech. This year it's the other direction. But these dudes are playing baseball lights out. This weekend they play Texas A&M, and I know college baseball isn't the biggest thing in the world, but if you love baseball and you want to watch good baseball, do yourself a favor and find some college baseball to watch, because these kids play the way the game is supposed to be played. They play it with for the name on the front of the jersey, not the one on the back, at least at this point. There's still that in college sports. And, and I'm sure in soccer and other sports that are that way too, but baseball for sure. And I get to see it up close all the time. It is so much fun to watch college baseball.
Yeah, like I said, I
and you played.
So part of me going through all the old stuff in the house and trying to figure out what to throw out, I actually found the newspaper article of the no-hitter that I threw in college.
That's awesome.
And I showed it to my wife just to confirm that now there's a second person that knows about this. Like my college buddies know this, because you couldn't tell me anything for like a month. I was like, I know hit a team. But now that she knows, that pretty much guarantees that I'm going to be incorrigible in the house for at least like a week. It's like, because 20 years ago, this is what I did.
Yeah, dude, you need to send me. I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
It actually points out that there was one error that was made. That's the only reason why it wasn't an 8 strikeout, no walk, perfect game.
That's so awesome. I want you to know, though, in case you are a big Georgia baseball fan, you can listen to it on our sister station, ESPN Atlanta, and it is 103.7 on the FM. 1340 AM, 103.7 FM. Make sure if you're a Georgia fan, go over there and listen to it, because that is the spot you can hear it. And
you'll make friends.
Yes, absolutely you will. Let me tell you,
call your neighbors.
That's right.
Tell them to come on over, watch, and listen.
That's right. Maybe watch it on the TV, listen to it on the radio. That's
right.
Morning Xtra, Xtra 106.3. When we come back, different than Mr. Smith goes to Washington, this was Mr. Marr and Kid Rock, of all people, go to Washington.
So weird.
So, what an odd couple. Next on Xtra, after Neil Bort's report and the Fox News update.
Time for the Bort's Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this idiotic leftist campaign to go after Elon Musk, whom they don't like, because he is damaging the Democrat god of government. So to show you how meaningful the leftist protests are, they've resorted to scratching Teslas. Maybe catching them on fire or ramming them with golf carts. So meaningful. Oh, and they paint things on Teslas about Elon Musk is a Nazi. Now, first of all, just to clear the air, Elon's mother is Jewish, and Elon says that he is Jewish by association, but not particularly religious. Yeah, he's a Nazi. But I've told you before that it was back during World War II that left-wingers started to associate anybody with conservative thought processes as a Nazi. Why not tag them with the most hated label extant in the world at that time? Well, here's something that I uncovered. In 1943, the Communist Party headquarters in the United States issued a directive to Communist Party members. It was how to deal with people who are opposed to communism. The directive, again from the Communist Party, said when certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them as fascist, Nazi, or anti-Semitic. Use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. Constantly associate those who oppose us with these names which already carry a bad reputation. After enough repetition, the association will become fact in the public mind. Now maybe you understand why the left likes to call Donald Trump a fascist and a Nazi, and now Elon Musk. Great thinkers, these leftists. Neil Bortz, Extra 1063.
Are you tired of dealing with loud, ugly, drafty garage doors? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Now is a great time to upgrade with brand new, efficient, quiet, and beautiful garage doors. Your garage door is the biggest opening in your home, which is why it's such an important part of your home's curb appeal and energy efficiency. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078. Get started today by visiting us at allfourseasonsgarages.com.
Senior Bid Manager positions offered by CETA Information Networking Computing USA, Inc. in Atlanta, Georgia. Leads and manages virtual bid teams across a matrix structure. Acts as the main point of contact for the internal teams on bids. Will successfully drive and manage the virtual team to close new and renewal business opportunities related to strategic, large, and/or complex solutions. Submit resume to gosia.mikolamajczyk@sita.aero.
This is Bruce Hagan, the People's Lawyer. When I started my firm, it was with the idea of providing personal representation for personal injury cases. We treat everybody like family, and it makes me so proud to work with my son to provide a great family-oriented law firm.
This is Matt Hagan. As a father-son team, we know the importance of working together to get our clients back on their feet. Let us here at Hagan Law be your advocates. You can find everything you need to know at hagan-law.com.
hagan-law.com.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
It's Liberation Day in America. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump posted that this morning, all caps, on Truth Social as he readies new tariffs on countries that charge for American exports.
We are focused on restoring the golden age of America and making America a manufacturing superpower.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt at the White House, where Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports.
There will be some kind of new charge applied to all countries coming today, as well as sector-specific tariffs. Steel and aluminum imports are already subject to a 25% charge, and 25% will also be applied to auto imports starting tomorrow. That includes auto parts.
But there is concern, especially on Wall Street, where futures are falling, about tariffs leading to more inflation. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna tells Fox.
We made a colossal mistake in this country with 90,000 factories shutting down, leaving for China, leaving for Mexico. The problem I have is that there's not a comprehensive plan.
Democrats scored a win in Wisconsin, electing Judge Susan Crawford to the state Supreme Court, beating conservative Brad Schimmel in a very expensive race, attempting to shift the court's balance to the right.
And it seems Wisconsin voters weren't really swayed by the star power of Elon Musk. In fact, a lot of them said that they were pushing back at the idea of a rich outsider coming in, spending money to try to impact the Wisconsin vote. It was also the first time Wisconsin liberals had an opportunity to push back at Donald Trump.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Madison. Republicans did win 2 special elections in Florida for 2 vacant seats in Congress, giving the GOP a slightly bigger House majority now with 220 seats. It's up to nearly 3,000 people dead in the Burma earthquake disaster.
While most rescue teams are only pulling bodies from the rubble, a 26-year-old man has been found alive in the wreckage of the hotel where he worked. It's 5 days since Burma and neighbouring Thailand were hit by a 7.7 magnitude quake. International aid efforts are continuing.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Finally, there is conservative talk in Atlanta, Georgia.
Amen to that. Tug and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. It was gone for for a while. After we had lost Rush Limbaugh, Atlanta became void of conservative talk, and those days are gone. We've been here for 4 years now. Picked up when we lost Rush, when they were still trying to figure out what to do with that time slot that was ultimately filled by Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, now the biggest show in all the conservative media. I mean, like their affiliates list dropped down substantially after Rush passed, and I understand why.
They gave it away.
But then they just gave it away. And now that number's right back up to where it was.
Yeah, I believe we're at 550 or so stations across the country and number one in multitude of markets.
It's unbelievable.
It was given away.
Just push my chips in. I'm done with this. I see no future for it. And boy, you couldn't have been more wrong.
Oh, I love when people that aren't good at business do business and people that aren't good at radio do radio. Oh,
yeah, it makes
I know why I'm always going to have a career. This is not complicated.
It's exactly right, man. But we're glad. We're glad to be able to talk about the things that matter in America, the things that matter in Georgia, the things that matter in Metro Atlanta, the things that matter for the future, for our own futures, for the future of our kids, and then ultimately our grandkids. This is conversations that need to be had. And we got people listening from all over. You would think it's just Metro Atlanta that's listening, and there is so many people from Metro Atlanta listening. Our latest ratings have been terrific. We know that so many women are listening, and we appreciate you, ladies. We want your opinion. We're two dudes, man. Sometimes we miss it. Sometimes we swing and miss when it comes to the way ladies think and feel. And
hold on a second, sir. I'm Lady Medina.
Well, there is that. That's right. Well, I mean, so we have a hint. We have a
There's Lady Graham in South Carolina, and there's Lady Medina here in Atlanta.
That's exactly right, man. We try to cover it as best we can.
All my drinks have umbrellas in them.
Every one of them. That's actually not far off for me. My wife will drink beer. I don't like beer at all. I just don't enjoy it. And so I'll have a cocktail or whatever. And if we have one drink before dinner or something, and they come out, they always put the beer in front of me, and they always put the cocktail in front of her. And
I know.
I wait till the guy walks away, and then I do the old switcheroo.
So we were in Nashville. I think it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and I ordered a drink. Basically we were having a brunch. It was like 11 o'clock. A nice friendly brunch, and our waiter was very flamboyant. He was hilarious, and he flat out told me, he goes, "Sir, what is going to be in your drink? It's just so you know, it's gold shavings, and they're edible. They're drinkable. Goodness. But that's what makes the drink look the way it does." And I gave him a high five. I was like, I'm totally with you, sister. like I'm on board. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. See, I don't take it that far. Like, I like
Oh, I do.
I know you do. I know. Lady Medina is a real thing.
That's right.
There's no doubt about it. But I like a rum and coke or a.
Oh, you're still busy drinking like I need a bourbon with a cigar.
Yeah. Well, no cigars.
And I'm like, here, can you make it more sparkly?
Yes. Can you bring it out to me in roller skates? That's the dynamic.
Make it a show, damn it.
That's right, absolutely. And so yes, but we want the true female perspective at 404-741-1230, and you're always welcome. And we have Stephanie that calls in. We have so many ladies that call in, and we appreciate each and every one of you and your point of view, and you're always welcome here.
We've been talking about the passing of Val Kilmer, and I saw a post that Stephanie put out there about, and again, she echoed what I was pointing out too, real genius, but then she also went to The Saint. Like, that's a cool movie. I'd even forgotten. Man, when I was growing up, Willow was really cool.
Right?
And he was Mad Mardigan. I was like, Val Kilmer was Mad Mardigan in Willow.
I do not remember. I mean, I remember the movie, but
it's like fantasy adventure. Yeah,
okay.
It's fun.
Yeah, I never saw that. I was trying to think of some of the other movies other than the obvious, the Top Gun.
I mean, the dude was Batman.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, and I did see all those. I did see the ones that he did, and he was Batman. But yeah, he was just one of a kind. There's nothing like his character, though. My favorite is when he was in Tombstone, and everybody will say the same thing.
Yeah, Doc Holliday.
I'm your Huckleberry. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. Dude, there's just nothing better. He was one of a kind. Jure brought up The Doors, which was unbelievable.
He sang a lot of that,
yeah,
too.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He was unbelievably talented. And being able to emulate Jim Morrison the way he did, it was, I mean, if you watch Jim Morrison, he must have spent time studying and watching Jim Morrison. His mannerisms were correct. Being able to do the vocal on that shows incredible ability that most people don't have. Val Kilmer was one of a kind. And I don't even watch that many movies. I'm not a movie guy per se. I'm more of a music guy. And I guess that's why I appreciate what he did with The Doors. But Val Kilmer was one of those guys that I always enjoyed seeing when he was. And apparently, did you know that he was? You remember that movie that Disney did called Planes? It was kind of like a.
It was offshoot of Cars.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know that he had done the voiceover for one of those movies, or that movie rather.
I did not know that, but yeah, we did see Planes in the theater because my daughters were really into cars.
Yeah, that was. I never saw Planes, but. I just read this morning that he had done that. When you look at his catalog of movies, looks like 50, 70 maybe movies.
Well, and he spent the better part of a decade in his 50s where he was not able to talk.
Yeah.
That was part of the surgery that he had for the throat issue that he had, and so. By the time you saw him in Top Gun Maverick and the way that they built that character of Iceman still appearing in the movie and kind of being the protector of Maverick as a guy with who's an admiral within the Navy and not being able to speak and having to use a computer to really convey what he thought, like it kind of gave it this full circle of like, okay, this is Val Kilmer at this point in his life, and yet he's respected enough and was such a big character that they had to find a way to get him in and to do it in a way that really was heartfelt.
Yeah. Heat from 1995.
Oh, my God. What a wonderful movie.
With Al Pacino. Oh, my gosh, dude. That was
the Al Pacino, Robert De Niro movie. Yeah. Oh, my God. I remember when they that was like the first time they're ever on screen.
Yeah,
there was a movie that they plugged that was that way, and I was like, dude, I saw them on screen together like 15 years ago. That was Heat. None of us forgot Heat.
Yeah, so good. R.I.P. to Val Kilmer. Morning Xtra and Extra 106.3. We've talked about people that you don't expect to see together, people that you don't expect to work together. And Bill Maher and Kid Rock would be two that I wouldn't expect would have that much in common. But they seem to. They seem to have a difference of opinion, but a friendship. And they, Kid Rock showed up on the podcast there, or the show, one of the two, with Bill Maher, and they discussed the topic of the White House. Who would have thought it would be Donald Trump that extended the olive branch by way of Kid Rock to take Bill Maher to the White House? He had never gone to the White House. He had supported Clinton, he had supported Obama, he supported Biden, and yet had never been invited to the White House. And it wasn't until Donald Trump, someone he's been very critical of, and a friendship with Kid Rock that changed that.
It could not have been better. Everyone was so surprised, so pleasant. The most shocking thing to me was, Bill's obviously a very big liberal, been very hard on the president, but he's donated a lot of money to other politicians. You've had Biden, Clinton, Obama, everybody. He had never been to the White House, and the president was so gracious. He took us up to the private residence. We saw the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln bedroom, and I was like, "You've never been here, Bill?" And I was like, "How about this? President Trump, extending this olive branch," and we talked about things we had in common, ending wokeness, securing the border. The president was asking him what he thought about policy, going on with Iran and Israel and things. It just it blew my mind. It was, right. I was very proud.
That's so awesome, dude. I do believe that's what America is really about. Finding your common ground. Though we can disagree vehemently about things, there can still be common ground and respect on a human level that doesn't really get played much on the left because they're too busy burning things down.
Well, Bill Maher had his noodle bait, and he had his noodle bait when Kid Rock went on his show about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and he was asking Kid Rock about the Super Bowl performance of Kendrick Lamar. And Kid Rock lays it out there and basically told him, "I thought it was badass." He's like, granted, it wasn't for mainstream America, but I'm sitting there pumping my fist and I loved it. And he explained why. And I think that really kind of shook Bill Maher because he expected, all right, white guy, kind of a hip-hop artist, known as a pretty staunch Republican. He's supposed to hate the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. And he's like, no, I thought it was awesome. That was the moment when he started speaking to him and like, oh, and by the way, you should probably come with me to come meet Trump. I think that was oh, man, maybe there is a little more to these people than just the black and white that I've been sold.
Well, on top of that, another noodle baking moment was when they were talking about Kid Rock, and he said, I performed at Obama's inauguration, if you recall.
Yeah, he told him flat out. I was like, no, I did that.
I don't agree with the guy, but I respected the office enough to go perform, and I have many fans that disagree with me politically, and they're still my fans, and I still like them. I don't hate them because they see things differently than I do. They still buy my tickets, and I still appreciate them. Again, isn't it crazy that Kid Rock, the dude that's like, if you were just to see him on the street, be like, man, that is as white trash as it comes. My cousin Curtis and he are probably best friends, or at least they could be. And yet, he's the guy that brought two people together that have been so ridiculously hard on each other, and maybe for good reason. There's been plenty of times that I've been ticked off at Bill Maher. Not that I hate him, but there's things that he would say, and I would just be like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy's an idiot. There's no way that he's serious right now. And vice versa, Trump has gone after him pretty good. So for Kid Rock to be the conduit to get those two people together and discuss, things that are happening around the world, does it change their perspective? Does it change their opinion of each other? I don't know, but it sounded like everything went well.
It'll be interesting to watch, real time with Bill Maher on Friday.
He's going to get a rating spike.
There's going to be a bump. Like, I typically watch the show. Yeah, I don't watch it live. I typically will catch it on Saturday or Sunday on one of the replays. And I enjoy it. Like I said, I like seeing what the other side is talking about. And oftentimes I like to see who the Republican is that shows up and takes all the slings and arrows. And then, when they can score their own points. I said this to an attorney friend of ours. And I had made the point when they were being critical of Donald Trump. I said, hey, do you know your Shakespeare? And my point was that in Shakespeare, it's the drunk, it's the jester, it's the clown, whoever that you think you're supposed to think the least amount of. In Shakespeare, that's the person who speaks the most amount of truth. In this case, it's Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Kid Rock is the one you're not expecting it from, yet he's speaking the most truth in this entire deal.
But you see that in the good book, too. Who did Jesus spend most time with? The sinners.
Yeah. The sinners.
The people that society,
the lowest of the low,
that's right.
Yes.
The people that society said, do not give them your time. They don't deserve it. They're filthy. They're animal, whatever it is. and I'm certainly not comparing Kid Rock to Please Don't. But
the whole idea of like pay attention to the message. The message, especially when the message is one where it's enlightening. I mean, that's the whole idea of why these things are supposed to be difficult to grasp. Is that you may not like the packaging, but you need to pay attention to the message.
Dude, I would imagine, and I don't know this, somebody who's, better with Shakespeare than I. I mean, I remember it from high school, but I'm I can't say that I am an expert at Shakespeare at all.
They weren't throwing them around on the Navy ship?
No, there weren't. They're throwing lots of things around, but not
Here's
that.
Othello.
Yeah. But I would imagine because the stories make so much sense and they have that parallel. Shakespeare talked about the like you were describing, the drunk telling the truth, or the jester being the guy with the most wisdom. I wonder if that comes from the biblical principle. I wonder if that's where that's pulled from, and I don't know the answer. But it seems like they would line up. It seems like they would make sense if that's the way or the reason that Shakespeare wrote them that way, because they came from the good book.
That's always been, and again, it gets played up. I'm gonna make this really turn really a different direction right here, Tug. But do you remember the joke in Talladega Nights? That the whole idea of like, I'm thinking about punching this old bum, but what if it's Jesus? Yeah. It's like you don't know where the message is coming from. It's like I'm thinking about punching this old bum, but maybe it's Jesus, so I probably shouldn't. It's like you don't know where the message of actual intelligence is coming from. And so yes, maybe it's coming from Kid Rock in this point, and you might be saying, come on, this guy wrote a song 25 years ago that like you can't write you Bob with the ball, the bang. I was like, you can't write the lyrics, okay? Yeah. I was like, that's what it is. But yet, he's the one who's speaking the most amount of knowledge in this thing of saying, here's how to get the traditional liberal Democrat to pay attention to what Donald Trump is doing. And Donald Trump going, hey, we may not be on the same side, but I'm in the interest of both of us.
Dude, I just did a quick Google search, Bible references in Shakespeare plays, and there's a book about it. So I stumbled onto something completely accidentally. But somebody else has figured out. I mean, now it's intriguing enough that I want to figure out whether. So, University of Delaware is where that I've seen this. Nasib Shaheen, biblical references in Shakespeare plays, written in 2011. So, dude, we stumbled upon something that we had no idea that we were going to.
I'm going to punch this bum. Might be Jesus.
That's exactly right. Goodness gracious. But,
and now I'm going to send that to you like all day long. I'm just going to send you that one. I'm going to go find that video link. And I'm going to send it to you all day long. You'll just be sitting there minding your own business. Suddenly, here, he sent the link again.
There it is again. I want to fuss this dude, but I'm afraid it's Jesus. I better not. God, so funny. And I do believe that God has a sense of humor. How could he not? I mean, the way he created us, we're always, chasing our tail and doing the wrong things. He has to have a sense of humor. I believe that with all that is me. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Windows, doors, gutters, siding, roofing, millworks. They can do anything you need done on the outside of your home to make it look like the envy in the neighborhood. You call them at 877-9-SOUTHERN, 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. When we come back, inflation continues to crater in Trump's America. Next on Extra.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
You saw where I learned a little bit, accidentally stumbled upon something in the biblical references in Shakespeare plays when Los brought up Hamlet and Othello. They're in there more than 50 times. So you learn something every day. I want to teach you something about a company that I trust that you can trust too, and that's Southern Exteriors. If you've got a leaky roof, you need it fixed, do not go with the person that bangs on your door. We had it happen again in our neighborhood, going door to door. It was last night. I was gone doing senior night announcements at Alpharetta High School for the girls lacrosse team. Congratulations on your senior year. It's so much fun. But while my wife was at home, some storm chaser came up. Hey, we're going to climb up on your roof and get it replaced by the insurance companies. Don't do that. Go with someone you can trust, the team at Southern Exteriors. Right now, they're offering 10% off any job, no matter how big, or 0% financing for 12 months. Go with the experts. 200,000 jobs under their belt. They've been servicing the metro Atlanta area, and the entire Southeast for that matter, since 1999. Get your house in order for spring painting. They can do the repairs. They can do the siding. They can do the doors. Energy-efficient windows. They can do it all. Call them today, 8779-SOUTHERN. SouthernExteriors.co. It's SouthernExteriors.co.
You need a pre-owned car or truck, but you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork.
Come on.
You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed.
Get an Honest Car Buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
If the president reignites the economy, the price of one commodity, oil, could go way down and dramatically reduce everybody's cost of living. But do you know which commodity could soar in price? Silver. Because silver is an industrial metal. It's used in things like electronics, cell phones, TVs, computers. And if the economy booms, the demand for all of these products will boom right along with it. That's why Investing Haven predicts silver will test its former all-time high of $50 in 2025 and move higher to $77 by 2028. That's a 50% price increase and 140% higher in 3 years. If you want to learn more about rising silver prices ahead, call Lear Capital now at 800-889-3070 for your free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA Guide. And when you call, you can also ask how to receive up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with qualifying purchase. 800-889-3070. Call them today. 800-889-3070.
The Georgia Tech men's basketball team is poised to continue making history at the Thriller Dome next season, and you don't want to miss a minute of the action. Relive amazing moments like when Damon Stoudemire and the Yellow Jackets took down number 21 Louisville at home last year by securing your seat today. Season tickets for the 2025-26 Georgia Tech men's basketball season are now on sale. Save your seat for all the on-court action at ramblinwreck.com/tickets. Sting 'em.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretired.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Wednesday, April 2nd. More layoffs occurred yesterday at the Center for Disease Control. 2,400 employees are expected to lose their positions as part of DOGE cuts. HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy says the restructuring is needed to make the department more effective. DeKalb County Police arrested 11 people and impounded 10 cars this past weekend as part of a statewide crackdown on illegal street racing and street takeovers. Officers also issued 40 traffic citations and seized several firearms during the operation. The Georgia General Assembly nears the end of its legislative session. Among the bills, a bill banning transgender students in girls' sports, a school safety bill focused on firearms safety, banning speed cameras in school zones, and a major tort reform package championed by Governor Kemp. Today's weather cloudy starting out in the high 50s. This afternoon, we'll see temperatures rising to the low 80s. Tomorrow, we could see record high temperatures of 85 degrees. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We appreciate you being here. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. We're easy to reach. We're easy to reach out to, and easy to answer phones if it need be.
What up?
Yeah.
Hello.
So my computer, because it's an old Apple. I'm surprised it still works. My computer is connected to my phone, which is connected to my watch, and it's too much. I hate the Apple Watch. I've had it for a while, and I despise it. I'm at some point going back to a regular. Because here's the thing, Los. It drives me so crazy, the notifications I have them all turned off. The only thing this thing does is tell me the time and the temperature. That's it. Every other notification is turned off.
I have one that's been sitting in my car for about a year and a half. I just don't. No. I don't like the idea of tech on my wrist for some reason.
No, I'm with you. I thought I would like it. It was the step counter or whatever, because I'd gotten, what was the Fitbit? That's what it was. We'd gotten a Fitbit, I get like for Christmas or birthday or something. And that thing lasted like all of 6 months and it died, and I think they even replaced it. And then the next one died. So I'm done with this. And so my wife was like, well, maybe I'll just get him the Apple Watch because it's got the step counter and then it's got, all the other stuff and it goes with the phone. She thought it was great. And it was a great idea. I just don't. I'm like you, dude. I didn't know I didn't like it, but now I do. I'm very, very, past it. I'm over it. I don't want any more of it. So I'm going back to a Timex.
All right. So just because he's brought it up and talked about it on air, I feel comfortable with pointing this out.
What's that?
At least your wife is not Lisa Hoyt.
Oh.
Because our friend Brian Hoyt that we used to work with.
Yeah, down the hall at 680.
1 year, his wife got him a fat scale.
Oh, my God. What?
This is before the days of Ozempic, and she had him, plugged with Ozempic.
What's a fat scale?
So the scale, when you stand on it, it's not just a scale, but also it's tied to the internet, and it posts your weight and where your progress is on Facebook.
Okay. So it automatically loads as an incentive to keep working harder or to shame you if you're not doing enough?
To shame you into, here's your post on Facebook of what my weight is today. And so, yes, he was like, she got me a fat scale, and it's designed to shame me into continuing to lose weight because, God forbid, you have a big dinner or something like that, or you have a night out.
Right.
You weigh an extra pound or two from whatever you consumed, and now that's what pops up on Facebook that you're actually up 2 pounds.
It automatically loads. Dude, that's the worst. I would disable that immediately, if not sooner.
Dude, Lisa Hoyt is cold-blooded, man.
Dude, cold-blooded. Like Chappelle Show.
A fat scale. It's like, I'm getting you a fat scale. It's like, what is that? And then he found out.
I had to disable some because my wife does no social media. I mean, zero. She has never had a social media account, has no desire, and I think it's the smartest way to go. It's we do it for work, whatever. But she just wants no part of it. One thing she did do, though, there was these boxes that you could order, and it would send different types of clothes. I think it's called Stitch Fix or...
Stitch Fix, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife's a subscriber.
Yeah, and then there's another one that was in there, too. Somebody got her for her birthday, like 6 months of it, whatever. But she wanted to know what was in the box before the box got there, and the only way you could do that was to like their page on social media. But by doing that, it also shared it on your page. And so my Facebook page was blowing up there. It's been a couple years back with, this is what you're getting from your Stitch Fix. You got a nice dress and some thigh-high boots or whatever. These crazy things. And people would reach out, and I never realized it. I mean, I knew told her that it was fine to do that I would set it up so she could see, but I didn't know that they were going to share that stuff on my... So people would ask me, like, Tug, You know, and this was before the whole trans thing blew up. They're like, "Are you dressing like a woman on the weekends? You know,
what are you buying?
What do you need that black dress for exactly?" And it was once a month, and it took me a little while to realize it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, disconnect." So Hoyt, I hope he disconnected that or got rid of it. Could.
Yeah, I think that was one of those that didn't last very long. But again, like I said, he found himself his Ozempic, and God only knows what it's going to do to him. But he's been taking the shot for a while.
Oh no. Oh, no.
Do you have the bounce back factor, like when you actually get off it and you start eating again?
And it comes back on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's gross.
Maybe, because, look, if I would like to lose some weight, and I've been going to work out, a few times a week. And I've done this, my entire life, and I'll go for a while and then drop off, and go for a while and drop off. But this time, I have a guy that I work out with, John, who's great, and he keeps me accountable. And he makes an appointment. So, he texts me, "Here's your appointment time." And I know I will stand him up. And he could be, earning a living off, somebody else that's coming to work out with him. So I have to have that accountability, but I don't need it on Facebook.
I just like that you leave yourself accountable to John, but we both agree a fat scale is not the way to go.
That's low down, man. That's like you said, that's cold-blooded. Low down. And I don't know Lisa that well, so I can't.
She's really cool. Like my wife and I, as much as Lisa's not for everybody, she's definitely for us. Like she's just mean. And we like her.
Like I said, I've always been a time.
She does not BS in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't even know if she would know me if I walked into the room. But
her husband is a clown prince, and she's the one who runs the show.
I love
so
it.
we appreciate her.
She's the Ringling brother. She's the Barnum of Barnum and Bailey's.
That's right. She's like, enough of your BS. I'm going to straighten this thing out. I'll straighten you out.
That's right. Like Hoyt's weight when he's on Ozempic. The inflation is dropping, Los.
Yeah. So this is actually really good news. So you have the Trueflation Index. And what this measures is your year-on-year change, and it updates daily. It will tell you about the price of consumer goods. It'll basically try and give you the true inflationary number. For instance, when we were dealing during the Biden administration, we're saying, hey, look, inflation's at 9%. It was closer to 15%. Okay, like that was the true number when it came to, because they were not measuring, groceries and fuel at the time. It's just things that they were not equating in here. So Trueflation gives you an accurate view of what you're dealing with. Since taking over during a period, now we can go from January moving forward. Under this administration, we now have true inflation at 1.38%. All right, like that's great news. That is the goal. Remember, we're trying to stay under 2% inflation. Right. There's always going to be inflation. Very rarely we have negative inflation where prices fall. But the goal is always to be below 2%. The Trump administration, under true inflation, has managed within just a handful of months to get this thing under the 2% mark.
That's wonderful news, and that's not being reported, so I'm glad that you're bringing it up, because if you look at the polling, people are like, things are still expensive. It takes a while to get this adjusted. It takes a while to get the economy on track. And I do believe tariffs, while could be bumpy in some places, I mean, we're projecting $600 billion in those reciprocal tariffs in the first year. By this time next year, I expect the economy to be on an upward trend and to be ticking right along. Inflation in check, the reciprocal tariffs in check, and the American people, no matter who you are, what you look like, who you voted for even, the rising tide will lift all ships. I have great faith that is going to happen again like it did in his first term.
Well, we are not a paper tiger. That is the way that the left tries to treat us, like we're some sort of paper tiger. That's the way that the faculty lounge views the United States. The truth is that when it comes to accessing our markets and accessing our, all of us as far as consumers, we are the most important country in the world. I know that when we look at the Chinese, we're like, man, we got to stay in those Chinese markets. And yeah, that's important. But everyone is trying to exist in the United States marketplace. They're trying to get their goods here. They're trying to sell their goods because of the amount of money we have and the amount of consumption that we go through. So We're not a paper tiger. We are a lion. We are the ones who get to decide, here's the rules by which we're going to play. And if you have a problem with it, snow Mexicans of Canada, then you're going to have to deal with it and figure it out from there, because we are the ones who dictate this stuff, not anyone else.
And their new prime minister already said 2 weeks ago, there's nothing we can do to stand up against the tariffs that Donald Trump's about to roll out. Now, they go on TV and they talk tough. They want to present a tough front, but they've admitted out loud, nothing we can do. Same way with China, same way with Vietnam, same way with Mexico, same way with Germany. Every one of these people, every one of these countries, they need the U.S. market way more than we need them. Are there going to be small hiccups and small speed bumps? You bet there are. Will there be small pain points? Yes, there will. But will the ultimate goal of turning and unleashing the American economy benefit from these tariffs? You're dadgum right. And I bet less than a year, when we're looking back a year from now, Wednesday, April 2nd, a year from now, we're going to be, see, I told you so. That's the way I feel about it.
And I'm curious because, like, for instance, I'm trying to search, like, okay, tell me about the imports from Germany and how large of a percentage does that actually mean. And so, for instance, if you just were to put that in there, we import petroleum oil, pharmaceutical products, motor cars, aircraft, medical equipment.
Cars being the biggest one.
The biggest one, to the tune of $64 billion. Now, in the big scheme of things, that ain't a crazy amount. No. And so when you tell the Germans, here's what we're going to do tariff-wise, they're thinking about their $64 billion that they depend on. We ain't worried about the $64 billion. They are. And so that's that whole idea of we're in the lion's cage. We're no paper tiger. We're the ones who get to dictate these terms. They need the money. We do not, even though we kind of do. But they are much more dependent on this. Right. And when you look at what's going on around the world, that's why you're going to see so many of these countries capitulate to these tariffs. Including China, our biggest enemy. They run a $300 billion trade surplus with the United States of America. Their economy, we know their economy is in bad shape. It is on shaky ground. When these reciprocal tariffs take place, and Donald Trump can literally bring the Chinese to their knees economically without even a shot being fired, that is something that the Chinese know and they have to work around. They're going to have to do the best they can to appease Donald Trump and to appease the American economy because they need us. I'll say it again, more than we need them. I can't wait to see this happen. I'm looking forward to whatever the announcement is today. I'm going to be sitting by the TV, have my phone ready so I can open up the TV app and watch it as it happens, because I expect Carolyn Levitt to go to the podium and be like, okay, here's the rollout. Here's what's happening. Yeah, that's right. Here's how everyone has decided. We've bent the knee, and we're kneeling at the American marketplace and the American president. And the Canadians, go on, bend the knee, bend the knee. 75% of Canadian exports come to the United States. 75%. That's why the new prime minister says we don't have a leg to stand on. Donald Trump says, how does he put it? We got the cards, and we do, and we do. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors. Make the home that you live in the envy of the neighborhood. They'll take care of everything on the outside. Doors, windows, siding, gutters, roof, millwork. 877-9 Southern. I'm going through every number I have in my head. Goodness. I'm going to call out yours in a minute, Los. 877-9 Southern. SouthernExteriors.co. 404. No, Tug, stop.
Stop. Come on, what are you doing, man? Good Lord. SouthernExteriors.co is the number. When we come back, you're supporting everyone, and there is no relief in sight until Donald Trump's economy takes off. This is why it needs to happen. This number is going to blow your mind, especially if you have kids and grandkids. You're going to be like, yep, I knew it. I didn't know it, but I knew it. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for April 2nd. The Braves are 0-6 after losing to the Dodgers last night, 3-1 the final. The Braves close out the series tonight as Bryce Elder comes up to get the start. He'll be opposed by Blake Snell. First pitch is set for 8:38. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680. The Fan. Off the field, the Braves, well, they have another injury situation as all-star starting pitcher Ronaldo Lopez will have surgery on his shoulder. The procedure will determine just how much damage Lopez has in that shoulder. As for the Hawks, they play the second game of a back-to-back after losing last night at home to the Trailblazers. Tonight, the team is in Dallas to play the Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 8:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guests are Major Chiquita Maldonado and Lieutenant Nicole Culberson of the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office Mental Health Task Force. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Don't miss the Braves home opener at Truist Park April 4th through the 10th when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy some fun during the week, including Braves Walk on April 4th, where fans can line the streets of the Battery Atlanta as the team parades down the street and into the ballpark, welcoming in the 2025 season. And of course, the Braves are back with some iconic giveaways and ticket packages like the Chris Sales Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines on April 9th. And brand new to the lineup this year, the Hello Kitty ticket package on April 10th, which includes an exclusive Braves and Hello Kitty co-branded light-up figurine. Plus, don't miss the first Kids Club Day on Sunday, April 6th, where the first 3,000 kids will receive a Chris Sale Triple Crown to wear. Some great seats still remain, and it's the perfect way to spend your spring break. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out the fun and freebies during the opening homestand and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Only 2 things in life are certain: death and taxes. Well, now there's a third certainty. If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, you could be saving a fortune every month by switching to Pure Talk. That's right. Pure Talk is cutting the fat from the wireless industry. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Listen to this. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. That's real money back in your pocket. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can even keep your phone and your number. So do this. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk to start saving today. Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/score. Ethos.com/score.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Wherever you are in Georgia, you can stream Extra 106.3 and crystal clear digital with the all-new Extra 106.3 app. Get Extra's live on-air stream in real time, or go back and listen to all your favorite shows, Neil Bortz, or original podcasts, no matter where you go. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
They say they can tell how old you are by your email address.
Uh-oh.
If you have your name as your email address, you must be old because you got it before all the email addresses were taken up. And I don't know that that's true because I helped my son get email addresses for iCloud and Gmail and something else, and his was available. So I don't know that that's true, but it does kind of make sense. The reason I bring it up is because there's all kinds of things that are happening in America right now that is trending in the right direction, but progressivism has hurt America and Americans. We knew it. We even joked about it, Los, when Captain Joe Virgin River was still with us. God rest his soul. He
he's not dead.
That's right. He went down.
Well, I mean, they're 0-6 right now, so
kind of.
Yeah, I've noticed that the Braves haven't won since Joe Virgin River took over the radio network.
Oh, that's
I'm going to text him
point that you should right now and get him back on track. But he talked about living with his parents, living in the. He would love to get out of the basement, and hopefully, the job that he took is going to give him the opportunity to do that. But 50%, this is according to NBC News, 50% of parents are financially supporting their adult children. This is an epidemic that has to be fixed, and I do believe Donald Trump is working on it because everybody benefits when Donald Trump has been president. People that hated him still benefited from a great economy. And I think this is probably demeaning for parents that want to see their kids do well and kids who want to do better. But the future of America, can you imagine if we would have gotten Kamala Harris, if that would have happened? Well, we would have all lost our homes. It would have been a disaster.
I mean, she was talking about using old school Russian tactics.
That's right.
In order to deal with some of the pricing issues, when she talked about, well, we're going to limit and we're going to put restrictions on what these grocery stores can charge you. Okay, that's price fixing. And by the time she started bringing that up, you had people in the know going, hey, you need to stop that. That reminds people of communism.
Yeah, the Washington Post was the first one to lead with that.
Stop saying communist things, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, because they already think you're a communist, and that's the reason people didn't vote for you. But leftists, man, they ruined the potential. I don't know that I'll ever retire. Maybe one day. And for my son, I want him to be able to take advantage of a economic environment that, will give him the ability to survive at least at a minimum or excel. And I do believe Trump will be able to fix that, but it's going to take some time to repair what the leftists have done to this country and this economy. And I'm so glad that we have somebody that at least cares about it, at least sees it as a value and doesn't see America as just a way to garner money for themselves, become incredibly wealthy, as they all do in D.C. Elon Musk about to fix that, hopefully, with the whole Doge investigations on getting rich quick when you're in Congress. But I want kids to be able to live like we did, at least be able to buy a house, at least be able to create a life and have a family, because what we have right now does not allow that.
I have very humble goals. Like I think about the stuff that I want for my daughters, and it's the same stuff that I was able to do, but I'm not trying to be like, here, do it exactly the way I did. That's not the way I feel. But what I would like to be able to see is our economy get to a point then when my daughters graduate college, they don't come back home.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
because that is now something over the last 15, 20 years that is not unusual. Whereas when we were growing up, it was almost a sign of, well, you didn't get your stuff together, that you didn't get the job right out of college. And so, you know, I just remember, like, as soon as I was done with school, like a month and a half later, okay, I'm now in an apartment in Dallas, and here's what I'm doing. And I never went home outside just to visit my family. That is not typical anymore. But it should be typical. That should be what we hope to do to create a job market and a future where our young people go right from one dream to living the next dream.
I don't know about you, but I know several families that have adult children living at home right now. Several. I mean, more than I can count on two hands that are kids that have great potential. Kids that are working hard and
kids that did what they were supposed to do.
That did the right thing.
They went to college, they got their degree, they did good, and yet there's no job market out there for them.
That's exactly right. Or the job that they have, they're still trying to work up, but housing is so expensive that they can't afford it.
Yeah.
And their parents, at least in our case, with the friends that we have that have kids at home, their parents are going, look, do yourself a favor, stay here at home, save money, put yourself in a position to win. And hopefully with the education you got, the job that you've gotten into is your first job, you'll start growing, you'll start doing better. But it's a concerted effort with the parents and the kids. Do this, stay here. We're going to give you a little bit of a runway to hopefully get a better start in life. And that's what every parent wants to do. Give their kids an advantage. Give their kids a good off-ramp to be successful as adults themselves. And the Democrats had ruined that. And Donald Trump, I do believe, is going to get it repaired, going to get it fixed. But it's going to take some time because the roots of what the Democrats have done in the federal government are deep.
Yeah, I mean, we have to create a robust economy that serves everyone. And we were heading that direction. 2016 to 2019 was when we saw that pop. Really, 2017 and 2019 where things were humming, like everything was going the right way. And then, I don't know, somebody ate a bat or let go of a virus out of a lab in China, and then things all went to hell. Okay, what you're able to do is if you allow the American system, if you allow that engine to do what it does, then I believe that's exactly what's going to happen. And so today, happy Tariff Day. This is going to be part. This is part of the plan here. This is how we get into an economic place that's good for everybody.
I talked about it earlier with exercising. I've been trying to do better. Get exercise in a couple of times a week. And I know, Los, you're even better about it. You've always been really good about it.
Not since I started moving, but yes.
Yes, typically. Otherwise,
typically I try and get in 4 or 5 a week.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be doing it, and you're moving beginning of next week. But it's just like the exercise analogy. This is going to take a minute. You might not see the results immediately, but when you start seeing them, they're going to be impressive, and you're going to be proud of yourself in the exercise, and then you're going to be impressed and proud that Donald Trump was elected and has given you the opportunity to live a better life, to put your kids in a situation so they're not living at home. But 50, that number is gigantic. 50% of parents are housing adult children. Unbelievable. And hopefully that's going to change. And I think it will. So what are you going to do the rest of Liberation Day, Los?
Pick up my daughter from volleyball and then go do a radio show talking about the Braves and a 0-6 start. It's going to be awesome.
That part's not going to be as
I'm going to go do the sports end where they don't let me be anywhere as near as inflammatory. And if I make one political joke, everyone freaks out.
Go down the hall. I know. I've heard them say it.
I'll be like, man, they're wandering around like Joe Biden at night at the White House.
How sad is it, though, the Democrats wanted to keep it the way that it was going, where more and more kids are going to have to live with their parents. The Democrats, I don't know if you've seen this morning. I've seen it a few times. We're calling it Liberation Day. The Democrats are calling it Obliteration Day.
Of course.
Physically pulling against the United States, pulling against anything that will even benefit them and their children and their families. They're pulling against it to be able to say, we got Donald Trump, because that's the ultimate goal. They don't care about anything else. That's a hatred that I'll never understand.
It totally doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, today is going to be that first day of I'm right there with you. Watch Carolyn Leavitt. Let's see how many people capitulate and decide we are not going to try and fight the United States on this.
Yeah, there are going to be more and more. We've named some of the countries already. China's already blinking. Vietnam's blinking, which is where a lot of those Chinese factories are, so they can get around the USMCA because there's already the high tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States. So they put it, those factories in Mexico too. But Vietnam's already caving. They're already cratering. I expect Canada will be short behind it. Mexico's already behind it. We shall see. Today's going to be a really good day for us. Liberation Day. Reciprocal tariffs start. All right, that'll do it for us. Hope you've had a terrific morning. Stick around for Beck, Clay and Buck, and then Kimmer this afternoon. For Los and Jure, my name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
And a meme has a pic of Elon Musk looking out the window while smiling. The caption reads, "Watching bureaucrats you fired drive away in cars you made."
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Central Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know the start of the new season is the perfect time to ensure your home's comfort. Don't wait like most people do to have your HVAC system serviced. Your home should have maintenance twice a year. Maintenance helps keep your system running at peak efficiency and extends the life of your equipment. So turn to Atlanta's Carrier experts for your system's maintenance. With Central, you get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. It's allergy season, and Central Heating and Air can fix what ails your house and possibly your family with home ventilation and air quality products. Central has packages designed around health using variable speed, fresh air ventilation, air cleaners, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and more. Central Heating and Air is one of the few second-generation, locally owned and operated HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. Call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and